Va bene.
Ok. Ciao ragazzi, benvenuti, grazie mille per averla resa possibile. Siamo qua con Sandro Bonfanti. Ciao Sandro, grazie mille per la masterclass che ci stai per dare. Io vado sotto e ti lascio la parola.
Bene, grazie mille. Ciao ragazzi, prima di tutto un piacere stare qui con tutti voi, anche grazie a Shortcut School per darmi questo tempo per farvi a voi una masterclass di Plasticity. Vedrete che Plasticity è un software che è un po' più dedicato per hard surface, non è tanto per character artist o per environment artist. Forse se vuoi fare prop design o assets, anche è un bel programma, un bel software per usare. Vedrete che io so parlare italiano, ma sono spagnolo, ho nasciuto in Spagna, ma, ma non so parlare italiano perché mio papà è italiano. Più o meno mi posso difendere un po' con la lingua, ma si vedete che ci sono delle parole che sono spagnole o inglese, scusatemi, va bene, non. Eh, non l'avevo notato. Bravo, questo vuole dire che so parlare italiano mezzo bene. Ehm, Voglio spiegare un po' chi sono io, anche un po' il mio background, perché è anche importante sapere, prima di cominciare con i Plasticity, un po' il mio background. Io sono cominciato in una scuola come tutti voi, nel 2017-18 a Barcellona, perché era la città che era più vicina al mio paesino per poter capire un po' come funziona tutto questo del 3D, modellaggio 3D, videogiochi, tal. Perché qui in Spagna al 2017 c'erano come 3-4 scuole, come moltissimo, per poter capire un po' questo del settore dei videogiochi, va bene? Io ho scelto una lì alla Barcellona, è stato lì 3 anni, va bene, 3 anni. I 2 primi anni io non facevo quasi niente perché ero stupido, ma il terzo anno mi sono messo tantissimo le batterie per fare 3D, 3D. È vero che era quello che io volevo fare, no? Sì, carattere, ma questo è bello anche perché all'inizio io credo che tutti avete avere un po' di knowledge di tutto, va bene? Di character, di environment, e dopo degli anni, io raccomando di prendere e fare una modalità, va bene? Il mio caso è stato hard surface, ma perché sempre mi è piaciuto capire un po' come funzionano i meccanismi. Per esempio, adesso che ha pubblicato questo ieri, vedete, no, un po' il disegno dietro, no, di come funzionare questo che è science fiction, non è proprio una cosa che si può vedere di solito sulla strada, no? Ma tutte queste cose che a me, non so, sempre avevo un po' di curiosità, no? Ehm, E alla fine questo è quello che volevo fare, ma per non fortuna, non so come si chiama, sfortuna o non fortuna, non potevo scegliere all'inizio perché io ero junior, va bene? E per poter iniziarmi al settore dei videogiochi ho avuto di cominciare come environment artist, va bene? E a quel tempo, nel 2020, avevo 20 anni più o meno, ehm, avevo due ditte, va bene? Una era Gameloft Iberica e l'altra era Elite 3D, che adesso è 2K Valencia, va bene? Credo che si chiama così in italiano, 2K. Ehm, e non so perché mi piaceva più lavorare per Gameloft perché loro stavano facendo un progetto di Disney e mi piaceva tantissimo questo, e alla fine ho detto, va bene, andiamo con Gameloft. È stato lì un anno. Ma cosa succede? Che per me fare giochi per mobile, video games, non era abbastanza... per me volevo fare per computer anche, va bene? E allora ho fatto il salto a Ubisoft, va bene? Lì ho lavorato per loro 6 mesi per Rainbow Six Siege, ma anche come 3D artist, non con hard surface. Io sempre volevo, da prima, sempre volevo fare hard surface. E dopo il roommate, che è una outsource con tantissimi operai, credo che sono 2000 operai più o meno, per là, credo che nel ranking delle outsource più grandi del mondo. Volevano un hard surface artist mid hard surface artist. E io ho iniziato lì la mia carriera come hard surface con Apex Legends, va bene? Con questi progetti di qua, con la... sì, tutto questo. Questa parte della mia carriera mi è piaciuto tantissimo perché facevo le armi per un gioco che per me era strafanatico di questo videogioco, e allora per quello che mi è piaciuto tantissimo lavorare con loro. Ma anche ho lavorato per altre AAA video games, ma non posso dire niente perché ho segnato un NDA, che un NDA, non so se lo sapete voi, ma è come un contratto di confidenzialità, credo che si chiama così, che non puoi dire, te non puoi dire niente perché hai segnato, sai, e non puoi dire niente. Ma ho lavorato per 3-4 AAA titles. E dopo di questo sono iniziato il mio progetto personale, che è questo, che si chiama Sentinels, va bene? Questo progetto è una storia di sci-fi che mm, volevo fare una IP è un videogioco, ma ho visto che non sono proprio bravo facendo programmazione, va bene? E, e dopo di questo ho visto che avevo bisogno anche di ingressi un po', allora ho lavorato per NetEase Games. NetEase Games è una delle ditte più grandi anche di Cina. Loro fanno Marvel Rivals. Poi, a Barcellona c'è una ditta che si chiama Anchor Point, che è insieme a NetEase, ok? E dopo di questo ha finito il mio contratto con loro e io adesso seguo come freelance. Dopo di 6 anni dentro il settore di videogioco, preferisco essere adesso freelance perché sono il mio proprio capo, si chiama così. E posso fare quello che io voglio, praticamente. Ma allo stesso tempo posso seguire con il mio progetto di Sentinels, che per me è un progetto che io ho abbastanza fiducia con questo perché è una storia e allo stesso tempo io ehm, sto realizzando anche il 3D, il design in 3D, ok? Questo mi piace tantissimo, mi dà vitalità, no? Come artista mi piace tantissimo, e anche adesso ho il tempo di creare, va bene? Questo è anche importantissimo per voi, perché ci sono delle volte nella carriera di un artista che hai tantissimo lavoro che non hai tempo di creare. E adesso io ho tempo di creare, fare il lavoro che a me mi piace, e questo credo che è importantissimo anche. E se hai tempo, godersi questo tempo di creare come artista, va bene? È un consiglio. Perché è bellissimo lavorare per Apex, Rainbow Six, Disney, tutto questo, ma anche hai di tenere il tuo tempo per creare, va bene? È così come un artista si può fare vedere tantissimo sui social media, o anche adesso, no? Che stiamo facendo la masterclass. E questo sono io. Adesso io I'm going to show you different modules, ok? Modulo 1, 2, 3, 4. Questi moduli io l'ho separato per quattro modalità, va bene? Una è cosa è il CAD modeling, che più o meno ho spiegato cos'è. Vi spiegherò strumenti, va bene? Un po' di strumenti che io credo che sono come the basics ones per capire un po' come funziona Plasticity, va bene? E dopo inizieremo un piccolo progetto che a me mi piacerebbe che adesso quelle persone che vogliono seguire seguire un po' tutti gli strumenti, quello che sto facendo io, si può scaricare Plasticity sulla web, il trial version, the 30 day trial version, e lì si può seguire un po', no? La masterclass. E dopo anche vi spiegherò come fare l'export, hyperpole export, lowpole export e max fast cleanup, che questo è un po' più tecnico, ma io credo che può essere stra importante di capire perché è la parte più difficile, va bene? Questa è la parte più creativa, questa è la parte più difficile. E dopo finiremo con le domande, va bene? Se avete qualche domanda, io, se volete, possiamo fare per esempio il modulo 2 e dopo posso lasciare 10 minuti per fare unas quante domande, va bene? E dopo possiamo fare il modulo 3, va bene? Io credo che può essere una bella dinamica di fare questo così. Mm, dopo anche io raccomando di prendere appunti, si chiama così, credo. Va bene? E se avete delle domande potete ricordare la domanda, perché delle volte a me mi succede che sto ascoltando qualcuno e dopo la mia domanda la olvido, va bene? I don't remember the question and then it's like, okay. So, apriamo Plasticity. Plasticity, anche se volete comprare Plasticity è stra bello mm, perché non è costoso, va bene? Credo che sono 150 euro, hai la permanent version per sempre, va bene? E questo io credo che può essere interessante perché ci sono per esempio 3D Max o Maya che questi costano 100 euro al mese o qualche cosa così. Questo con 150 euro l'hai per sempre, va bene? E alla fine è anche un software che adesso tantissima gente di hard surface impiega questo software, va bene? Mm, ok, questo è un progetto che è Nomad 54, che è di Sentinels, di quella storia che ho scritto io, che è così sci-fi. E anche ho diversi... eh, anche ho più modelli 3D con Plasticity, ma a questo livello arriverete, ma con il tempo, va bene? È difficile all'inizio cominciare a fare curve, va bene? Geometria con curve che è abbastanza difficile con CAD modeling, perché CAD modeling funziona che non ci sono dei vertici o edge, ci sono, ma non tanto, va bene? È come modellaggio tradizionale. Con CAD modeling vedrete che ci sono delle limitazioni, ma anche straveloce fare Booleans e altre tecniche. Ok, new file. Eh, new file, yes. Cominciamo. A me mi piace tantissimo cominciare sempre con una scatola, va bene? E con questa scatola possiamo fare di tutto. Possiamo imparare tutti gli strumenti basic ones, va bene? Non quelli complessi, ma quelli più semplici, possiamo imparare con una scatola. Prima di tutto, vedete qui abbiamo il control point, edge, face, solid, ok? Queste sono come tutti i software, Maya, anche il 3D Max, tutti hanno queste 4 modalità, va bene? Edge, va bene? Posso fare fillet e anche chamfer, le due, va bene? Questo stra nice, perché io ho l'abilità di poter fare tutto questo senza bisogno di dire, va bene, qui c'è un batch shadowing che non posso vedere proprio bene come funziona questo vertice e alla fine io si faccio così. Lo buono di CAD modeling è che non hai bisogno di geometria, va bene? Sì che puoi, per esempio, facciamo, questo è una cosa, sì che puoi per esempio con Shift S, se te fai Shift S tantissime volte, puoi fare it's like a subdivision, va bene? Questo che vuol dire che io posso prendere adesso un vertice, si chiama vertice, credo che sì in italiano, e poi fare così, e vedi, si vede come la parte più hard surface diventa un po' più organica, va bene? Ma di solito a me non piace niente usare questo, questo si chiama NURBS, va bene? Questo è come un extra tool che ti dà Plasticity come software di CAD che puoi modellare con NURBS. Ma io non mi piace tantissimo fare questo, va bene? Ci sono delle altre forme che vi spiegherò come farle proprio bene per fare curve e altre cose. Va bene? Ho spiegato come fare fillet, come fare Shift S e dopo, anche prima di capire un po' più di strumenti che ci sono qui, vedrete che qua avete the interface, va bene? The interface, te puoi selezionare tutte le tools che hai qui, va bene? Il corner angle, per esempio, per fare le scatole. Dopo puoi fare anche una forma più cylinder, va bene? Dopo puoi fare anche le curve, che questo vi spiegherò anche più cose dopo. E dopo anche ci sono delle spline, delle lines, che te puoi fare questo, per esempio, puoi fare così, pum, e dopo hai la forma questa, va bene? Le possibilità avete tantissime. Potete fare scatole, potete fare cylinders, potete fare una scatola strana, potete fare anche una sphere, potete fare tantissime cose. È quello che Plasticity ha anche che è bellissimo. Dopo per muoverti ci sono delle opzioni qua a Preferences, puoi andare a Appearance e poi cambiare tutto il background, va bene? E dopo anche potete cambiare il navigation. E se per esempio ti piace di più 3D Max, poi prendi questa opzione, ti muoverai come 3D Max, va bene? Ma a me non piace fare questo perché se io voglio andare a una ditta, io adesso voglio lavorare in una ditta, va bene? E mi lasciano il suo computer, perderò tantissimo tempo in adattare tutti i software che ho con tutte le preferences e tutto questo. Per me è meglio capire come funziona il navigation di tutti i diversi software e anche i shortcut. Io non metto shortcut che io voglio. Per esempio, tu puoi mettere un shortcut e cambiare il shortcut, il naming del shortcut, ma io lascio quelli che vengono di default, perché se io cambio tutto, quello che succede è che hai di perdere tantissimo tempo con tutti i software e a me non piace. Io mi so, a mia testa c'è tutti i shortcut di tutti i software che io uso, 3D Max, Plasticity, tutti i shortcut sono dentro la mia testa, va bene? Non uso sempre gli stessi, perché sennò si vai a una ditta, per me è peggio. Sì che puoi fare l'export di template, ma per me non è pratico, va bene? Non so perché sempre dico va bene, va bene, va bene. Ok. Adesso che sappiamo come fare una scatola, come fare un cylinder, come fare una sphere, come fare... Anche possiamo fare una scatola strana. Dopo di tutto questo, partiamo ancora con la scatola, va bene? Yeah, va bene. E vi spiego anche più tools. Questo è per i show overlays, è come per fare vedere o no la grill, va bene? E dopo questo di qua è l'X-ray. L'X-ray è per vedere la parte di dietro del modello, la scatola o quello che hai. Dopo della masterclass anche io ho i miei materiali. Tutto questo, se volete, alla fine credo che ho come se no oggi, domani, vi regalo i miei materiali, va bene? Perché questo l'ho fatto io, tutti questi materiali. A me piace questi due perché questo mi dà più shadowing e questo mi dà più meno shadowing, che delle volte preferisco lavorare con questo o con questo. Ok, let's go. Questo di qua, line, abbiamo capito che è per fare scatole strane, ma anche posso fare questo. Se io per esempio vado con il X-ray mode, posso fare questo così e posso prendere il solid, fai press C I can do a cut. Ok? So, adesso ho due parti. E questo io credo che è stra interessante perché puoi fare tantissime cose bellissime. Puoi fare così, dopo prendi questo, sì, questo così, va bene. Alla fine è una forma di partire, no? Tutto il body, il corpo. Un'altra forma di fare un altro strumento, per esempio, io posso prendere la spline curve. Sì, adesso io faccio una scatola qua. Io, if I press F, questo è il pie menu. Questo non so se gente usa il Blender, ma è come un pie menu. E qui io posso tenere qui ha tutti gli strumenti di Plasticity. Io posso adesso scegliere Sweep, Shift P, Sweep. And if I press the line, boom, posso fare questo. È vero che qua, per esempio, mi fa questa forma strana perché la scatola è grande. Ma se io la divento un po' più piccola, questa curva che è un po' più... la passo adesso... Vedi? Adesso funziona più bene. E dopo, per chiudere questo, Alt click, Shift J. Alt click, Shift J. E con questo io adesso ho un corpo. Se non faccio il Shift J, quello che succede è che è un sheet. Non è un corpo, non è un body, non è un solido. Per quello che è stra importante sempre chiudere la mesh. Shift J. Adesso è un corpo. Perché se io non ho un corpo, quello che succede è che se io voglio fare un cut o altre cose che affettano il corpo, come non è un solid, non capisce il software che è un solid, allora è un shit e non puoi fare certe cose. Con Shift J, adesso un body, io adesso posso fare qualche cosa, posso fare questo così, questo lo puoi fare anche con un sheet, ma per esempio una Booleane, se vuoi fare una Booleane, probabilmente non ti funziona. Con il body sì, ma con il sheet no. O ti farà una boolean, ma ti farà cose strane. È meglio sempre chiudere tutta la geometria. Per fare la boolean, seleziono solid mode, shift, l'altro, Q, e dopo ho the operations. I have different ones: union, div, intersect, slice, region. So adesso io per esempio se prendo union, questo e questo saranno lo stesso corpo. Se faccio div, questo e questo farà la differenza e si mangerà parte del corpo. Ma anche ho un'altra opzione che se io if I press T, rispetto questo corpo. Posso if I press T every time, rispetto il corpo questo di qua, va bene? E allora, questo perché? Perché se per esempio te vuoi rispettare il corpo perché questa boolean la vuoi ripetere ancora, non la fai sparire, va bene? La hai lì, ancora per usarla. Shift D per fare una copia. La coppia è un to duplicate, shift D for duplicate. Copia credo che in italiano è come friend, no? Or something like this. Ok, più cose. Se io ho un cylinder, posso prendere anche questo di qua, faccio adesso una piccola scatolina così, e dopo posso fare un array. Per fare il snap to the middle vertex, con control, e vedi, mi fa snap, pum. E dopo posso prendere radial array e mi fa l'array, tutto questo. Dopo se faccio così, posso prendere tutto questo e posso fare la boolean. È per questo che è stradivertito il Plasticity, perché questo con 3D Max è impensabile, perché sempre avrai un vertice che ti fa bad shadowing o un artifact, e questo non è bello, non è divertito. Ma Plasticity sì, perché te puoi fare tantissime cose, sai? O, con la O, puoi fare questo così, che è come un thickness, più o meno. E dopo puoi fare l'extrude. L'extrude sempre ti esce push face, sempre ti esce automatico. È vero che tutto ti escerà automatico se a preferences hai questo così. Questo così o questo così, va bene? Se no, non ti esceranno le domande di vuoi fare questo, sì o no, va bene? Io preferisco questo perché così io I do a click on a face and I can directly do the extrude, ok? Così per me è più veloce fare le cose. Va bene che più cose. Anche posso fare un array, ma rectangular array. Sì, io adesso prendo questo di qua, faccio così e faccio così. Bene. Adesso ho un rectangular array e posso scegliere il numero di ripetizioni e anche posso the distance. Posso scegliere la distanza, sì, la lunghezza, si chiama così, dell'array. Va bene? Questo io credo che anche è importante sapere. Più cose. Se per esempio io ho un cylinder e faccio così, dopo con il O faccio questo, va bene? Questo l'ho spiegato qui, ma qui avevamo tutti l'array, questo, ma così si vede più chiaro. dopo puoi fare così o così, e alla fine in 2 secondi hai una cosa che forse con 3D Max o Maya ti impiega un po' di più tempo. Più cose. Possiamo forse cominciare con il piccolo esercizio e allo stesso tempo che io faccio il modellaggio 3D possiamo vedere più tools, va bene? Più strumenti, perché adesso la mia testa non ha... È difficile parlare italiano e allo stesso tempo fare 3D. Credo che è meglio fare l'esercizio e forse lì escono tantissime più cose. Spiral anche, puoi fare questo. Sì, if you press P, puoi fare a tube, and then you can do the thickness. For example, this thickness or less, more or less thickness. This one, yeah. Ma puoi fare tantissime cose, è bellissimo Plasticity. Dopo puoi fare anche questo, Shift X, per eliminare una... sì, credi? No, se parlo inglese forse no, non so se ti capiranno. Sì, infatti si dico di più. Sì, sicuro. Per me è meglio, ma non so se per tutti Puoi fare, per esempio, qui potete selezionare 2 edge e dopo hai il loft con L, puoi fare loft e dopo G0, G1, G2 are the different continuities. Sì, in inglese. Sì, ok. Va bene, allora possiamo fare inglese perché per me italiano è un po' più difficile. Io l'ho intentato, scusatemi, ma per me è spiegare 3D, parlare più o meno sì, per fare una birrettina va bene, ma per fare 3D per me è più complicato. Then we can switch in English and for me it's much better. Okay, so there is like another, so right now, for example, we can do a loft. Okay, so if you select 2 edges and press L, shortcut, now we have different continuities, the G0, G1, G2. These different continuities, as you can see, the height changed a lot. So right now, for example, this one is super flat, this one is the middle one, and this one is like the heightest one. At the same time, for example, if right now this is for one edge to another edge, but there is also the possibility to select these ones. Let me show you like this. Okay, so for right now, as you can see, both are sheets. So if you press this one and this one again, Shift J, you can't make as one body because you don't have all the holes closed. Okay, so if you don't have all the holes closed, there is an issue between brackets because you can turn that in a proper solid. So right now, what we can do is to, for example, select this one like this, do a cut, close it, and then this is one. Okay. What I did is basically is to enlarge a little bit this one edge. Then I select this face, and if you select the face and press C, the software detects that you want to do a cut with that shape. Okay, so right now if you select this one with C, enter, so you did the cut with that shape. It's amazing. So for me, Plasticity have a lot of freedom doing this kind of shapes and bodies. Okay, and then again here we can do the same, right? So we can, for example, go here and do like this, or there is another way to do that. So we can delete this one, and then this one now is one body. As you can see, it's super simple. It's true, as I can see here some hard surface artists that I know. It's true that sometimes is fucking hell. Sorry for the words, because sometimes it doesn't fit perfectly with this one, and you have to figure out how to close perfectly the body. Okay, so right now we had a lot of lucky, because if we press QQ is for having union. Remember, you have full body now, solid. Okay, I say body because at Fusion 360 it's called body, and here at Plasticity it's called solid. I don't know why the people is changing every time the names, but yeah, it's the same for me. Okay. Another thing is, instead to do that, there is the symmetry shortcut. Okay, so right now you can take this one because have this part of the shape that I want, and then press Alt X. Okay, but if I press Alt X right now, it's going to do the Alt X in the middle of the world, and I don't want that. What I want is to do Alt X in the middle of the asset. How I can do that? Basically, there is an option that if I press the face and then I can do the plane from selection, it's going to create a plane directly. So right now, the middle of the world for me is going to be this one. And that's perfect because I can press Alt X. Oh. So plane from selection, Alt X. It's not working. Why? Plane from selection. Maybe because it's a sheet and it's not a body. Let me check it super fast, please. Not sure why it's happening that, but usually it works. Plane from selection. Not sure why this is not working right now, but yeah, in any case, we can go with that way. Okay. And then press QQ and we have the body. So it's super weird because now it's like I hate when something is not working properly. But anyways, if I go and press plane from selection, right now it should work. For example, let me check. Okay. You should always have the show overlays activated because if not, it's not going to work. Maybe it's that for that reason. Yeah. Yeah. As you can see, right now, if I press here, the face, going from selection, boom. The middle of the world right now, it's turned here because it's the plane that I create. And the cool thing of plasticity is that have an history. If, for example, right now I have this. At the same time, I want to hide it with, if I press point, okay, I have two interactions, one isolate and one template. But if I do, for example, a cut here, and then I isolate this one, I have two iterations of isolate. So right now it's like, if I press here is one isolate, two isolates, all the third isolate, and then the template, the template, the plane. Okay, so that's crazy. So this is the reason why I love Plasticity, because you can iterate super quickly, and at the same time you have a history where you can go back and at the same point understand what's happening there. Okay, so we have the face here. At the same time, I show you that we can plane from selection. I can create a plane. I have the middle point here. Alt X again. Alt X to do the symmetry. So if I press here, this for example, I will do a mirror. If you can see there is like a cut. Okay, and it's going to do a symmetry there. Let me show you an example here, for example. If I press this one, press plane from selection, Alt X, okay? And then if I press this one, it's going to do, it's not going to do that. Let me show you again, this one like this, like this. Now Plasticity wants to not work. Ok, Alt X. Okay, now yes. Not sure why this works like this. If I press here, let me show you plane from selection, Alt X, Alt X. Maybe it's kind of booked. I don't know. Like this. Okay, well, anyways, if I press Alt X, I can do the mirror, okay? And then you can like adjust this mirror with this yellow arrow, okay? So for me, it's super cool and super nice when it works. Okay, so showed all this. This is like a kind of gym right now. But what we want to do is a proper small task that maybe we can do some things and then use all these tools on this task. And then after it, I'm going to show you, well, we can do like a small break of 10 minutes. And then I'm going to show you how to do the high poly, low poly. And at the break, if you have some questions or something like this, just ask, okay? And then take notes, everything that you want. And sorry, because the start was like quite difficult for me with Italian speak, but I know Italian, but not too much. I have to improve it. I promise that I will improve it. Okay, let's jump with a small task. Maybe we can go, for example, Pinterest. I love Pinterest. There is another webpage that it's called Yandex. Okay, Yandex. But for me, it works super fine. But for me, Pinterest have for me better results. But Yandex also you can find some references there that are crazy and super cool. Okay, so what I love a lot is to take this kind of drawings. Okay, like the super fast 1 day drawings or this kind of things. Let me check. Maybe I think I have some safe. These ones are super difficult for the time that we have. But for example, this one is super small and maybe probably is super cool. Yeah, maybe we can jump on this one. Always I like to do some credentials to the guy that did that. That is Kaminsky. In that case, this is the daily practice. Sometimes people that loves designing and concept art likes a lot to do like 1 day draw and they turn amazing draws in 1 day. That's super cool. So let's take this one and then pure ref. I don't know if you know this software, but for me it's the best one window that you can like, it's like a movable window that you can change screens and at the same time just drag and drop your reference and then put it on that floating window, and it's super cool. Here you go. We have this one. So this is going to be the small practice. Maybe I can share here at the chat this reference. So if in any case, dopo aver modellato con Plasticity, sì, questo lo spiegherò dopo di fare il blockout e anche tutto quello che hai bisogno di fare in Plasticity. And after it, I'm going to show you how to do the high poly and the low poly stage. We are not going to do all the low poly because the low poly stage is super super large stage. It's the largest stage of, is the bad and largest stage of working in CAD modeling. That's the worst part of doing the things in CAD modeling. You can speedrun a lot in the high poly stage and also in the blockout, but the low poly is super large. It depends on also the complexity of the asset. Okay, so we are going to do a small part of this one in the low poly, and I'm going to show you both ways, for Nanite mesh and for traditional low poly mesh, that I think both are super worth to understand how it works. Yeah, that's it. I think I don't forget anything. Risposto che lo farò dopo, non preoccuparti. Ah, ok, va bene, grazie mille. Sì, lo farò dopo vi spiegherò come fare le high poly e low poly anche, va bene? Let's continue. Okay, so if some of you guys have the Plasticity download, if you want to follow step by step everything, it's okay. So I'm going to share with you guys this one, yeah, this reference, and if you want to put it on a pre-ref window, you can follow that. I mean, we are going to do as much as we can on that because obviously we don't have infinite hours to do it. But usually for this kind of assets, the blockout plus the previous step on high poly stage, it requires maybe 4 hours, 3 hours. So we are going to invest maybe 1 hour and a half, and we'll do properly maybe most of it, but not super finished result. Okay. Okay. So first of all, we need to know that I must understand better is the various shortcut. Only thing that I must. Okay. The shortcuts. I'm going to repeat again all the shortcuts during this small practice. So for me, it's okay and super cool at the end if you have some questions after it. But at the same time, I'm going to repeat again and again the shortcuts. So don't worry. I usually work with shortcuts just because for me, for time production efficiency is the best. Okay, so yeah, I usually work with shortcuts that I think is the best way to do that. Sometimes maybe if I don't know a shortcut, I find the tool that I want on the pie menu, like I don't know, Imprint, for example. Okay, that I'm going to explain this one also. But yeah, basically that is possible to visualize your keyboard commands. I'm not sure how to do that. I'm not sure if there is like a software. Maybe the shortcut guys knows it. If not, I'm going to do a list after it. Okay, but yeah, I'm going to try to pronounce super correctly the shortcut like Alt T or Shift J. Okay, or everything. Okay, guys. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Sorry to turn that masterclass in English, but it's what it is. How do you put preferences on the background, such as blueprints, if you want to model things like cars or blueprint? But okay, so for example, to do that, you can go on import. Okay, and then if you import directly a image, for example, this one, I can press PNG, and directly is going to detect. Okay, it's not super difficult plasticity. It's not like 3D Max that you have to create a material with some transparency, blah blah blah. Okay, here is super simple. But I'm not going to use like this because this is a sketch, and for me, this perspective doesn't work correctly and properly for what I want to do. But if you have the front side, the left side, it's super cool to have it. And then this plane, you can move that. So if you press R and Control at the same time, so first R and then Control, you can rotate in degrees. So right now, for example, you can select here and 90 degrees, or just pick here 90 degrees or 45. Okay, so yeah, that's the best way to do that. But as this perspective is not front or left side, I'm going to do without this kind of thing because for me it's going to be worst. So first of all, it's super important. It's super important to know the 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 size. Okay, the size of the things that you are going to do. In that case, to establish what I want at centimeters and all this stuff, here there is an option where it's called units. Okay, so for me it's better centimeters because have more precision. I have more precision on that aspect. Okay, so for me it works much better in centimeters. So if I want to understand how many centimeters I'm working here, as you can see them over there, but you can't edit them. But in the end, if you move there and press D, as you can see, the distance D is for distance. distance. So here you have all the shortcuts anyways. You can decide how many centimeters you want in height and width. Okay, so for example, sorry, in height and width, no, just in height. But okay, so for example, for me it's okay, 5 centimeters, and at that point, what I want is, for example, here there are 10 centimeters, 50 centimeters, maybe, probably what I want. Then we have this tool that I'm going to explain to you also, that is this one, okay, measure distance. So right now, for example, if I press here and then here, no, yeah, you can, okay, you can calculate all the distance. But for me, it's true that it's a sci-fi asset, okay? So for me, there is no like super exact centimeters that I want, because I don't know, this is not in real life. I don't know how it works in real life. So right now I can press, for example, here 5. For me, it's okay. 5 or 5 more. Okay. And maybe the height, this one looks like super have a lot of height. So yeah. And right now we have here okay, we have here 10, super close to 10 centimeters. Probably I will put a little bit more. Okay, I will put 5 centimeters more. Okay, and then I have it. Okay, I will make sure that it's on the middle of the world. Okay, and now I have 15 centimeters enlarged, but it's okay for something that is going to be on top of a super huge weapon. It's fine. Can you do models for printing with? Yeah, you can do models. At least this software have the export settings for 3D printing. So STL, I think, is the file type for printing. Okay, so let's continue. What I recommend to you guys is, every time that you have a new concept, is to divide it in modules. Okay, so right now I have this module, then I have this other one, and then I have the bottom one. It's here. Okay, this one. This one, for example, I don't have a lot of information, so maybe I'm going to avoid this one. But yeah, and probably I will say it also this one. Okay, this is another like huge piece, just to take them in consideration for the blockout stage. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have the cylinders. Okay, that is this one and this one. Okay, so I'm going to take a screenshot of that and let it here. It's super sketchy right now, this one, because we don't have so long time, but for me it's okay. Then perfect. Let's continue. I'm going to speed run a little bit. Basically, I'm going to start to divide. Remember, we have the cut. So how we can cut? Just do a line, okay, Shift A, for example, and then I press the body, C, boom, and then the cut is done. Pay attention, because if you are doing the line on the left side, on the back side, the left, yeah, in that case, this is front. Okay, let's turn this better, like this, just to be correct. If you do in the right side, okay, the line, pay attention, because if you go again back on the perspective, the cut is going to do the same way that you create a line. Okay. In that case, for example, if we are going to do in the front side, I go to perspective, it's going to do the front side. Okay. Just in case that you have a little bit messy troubles with that, this is the explanation why. Because for always, if you create, for example, on the perspective one, we can rotate the cuts. I'm not sure. I never tried before, but let's see. If I press here, I didn't see here the. Yeah, I can see here. I'm not sure if we can rotate. No, it's not possible. This is my knowledge. ¿Con quale comando tagli? Con sì. Va bene? Okay, let's go. Let's continue. I have two modules right now. These are the two most important ones. Then I'm going to do these lines and all this stuff, but I'm going to do it after. Okay, so the small details, I'm going to leave them at the end. Okay, okay, let's continue. So what I have here is basically, I don't know how to let this like attach, probably here, and at the same time, if I press image, mode overlay selection, always on top, right? Oh, on top. Yeah, wow. Super good. Okay, let's maybe add this one like this. Okay, cool. So right now, what I want here is like a chamfer, right? So super easy. I have chamfer. Let's go. Then, okay, strike face. But this face, as I can see, have 45 degrees more or less. So I'm going to do the 45 degrees. But how I'm going to do this 45 degrees? So what I'm going to do is basically select this one, chamfer. Okay, so I first do the chamfer, and then with the control, I will make sure to do the 45 degrees here. Okay, on the angle. Then Alt X and symmetry Q, and that's it. Okay, so I have this and this, more or less, the blockout stage. Okay, so it's not something super complicated. Okay, maybe what I can see here is that this one maybe can be like this, and then this one have super notorious fillet. Okay, so I'm maybe going to do like this. Okay, so this one chamfer also looks like that is super huge. Maybe what I'm going to do to not break a lot, take in consideration that this is a daily practice. So this guy did it maybe in a couple hours, that sketch. Okay, this is a sketch, it's not a final concept. Probably there is some issues in the perspective, okay? Probably 90%. It's not just, I don't want to blame anyone, but it's probably that there is maybe some issues, but as an artist, we have to figure out, okay? So we have a sketch, super quick sketch, so we have to just try to figure out how it works. And then after it, we can maybe interpret how to finalize the task, ok? Cerco almeno di dire I comandi in italiano, dato che non ci sono, cercato di... Ok, va bene. Per fare to do the fillet, ok, is F. F no, scusa. Automatically is going to appear. Okay, so if you press Alt click, it's going to appear automatically. Okay. Trabaja en la propia Warner. So this is what happens. Okay, what I was saying before that sometimes it happens that some sketches have some bad proportions in the perspective, mostly. So, for example, here I can find one that this one is on 45 degrees or 50 degrees, and this one is super flat. So this is not correct, okay, right now, because if you have a flat face, this detail is not going to appear. Probably, I'm going to do it, but probably 90% I'm sure that this is not going to happen. Okay, so okay, if you go B, U, bu, va bene, in italiano, per muovere il gizmo, to move the gizmo, use bu, va bene. E dopo con control, you can move by degrees, okay, by snapping degrees. So if you go, for example, 10 degrees less, it's 30 degrees. So right now I can press body, Alt X, and then I can do the symmetry. QQ, remember QQ to do the Boolean of union. There is the Boolean of union and there is the Boolean of difference. How do you raise the camera to the center of the object? Wow, good question. So if you lost at the camera, if you press I don't know, in Max and Maya is Z or F, but here, good question. I mean, I never get lost inside the plasticity, but it's true that's something important to know. It never happened to me. I scratched it on internet because it says, maybe. For me, it doesn't work. Anyways, slash. Okay, yes. If you go to the numpad, you can do that. Yeah. So thank you. Something that I learned. Okay, let's continue with that. Okay, right now I have the two parts of the body, but what I want is the cylinders, right? So let's keep continuing with the cylinders. Right now, I can go with this, the center cycle. The center cycles provides to me to create the cylinder. As you can see, the plasticity is going to create automatically like a middle point for everything, okay? Like a snap point. For me, it works this one, but then if I press G and Control at the same time, I can snap in the edge because it's what I want right now, snapping the edge. Then after it, maybe if I press double time S, I can do it much bigger, enter, and then I will scroll a little bit down because it's not in the proper middle. As you can see, the curve is here and the middle is here. So yeah, more or less like this. And then I'm going to show you one of the tools that I explained before that is called Loft. Okay, Loft, what it's going to do is basically, I maybe imagine that this one cylinder have a little bit of curve in the top. Okay, so what I want is basically press S again, Shift D to duplicate the sketch. I drop this one and then S a little bit, just a little bit, and then make sure that this one have more height than this one and less than this one. So if I press by order, okay, if I press like this, it's going to make a mess. Oh, no, because it's so, the mesh, as you can see, creates that, and I don't want that. What I want is per order, 1, 2, 3, press L. Okay, so it creates a small curve over there, and maybe I can intensify a little bit more. If I go here, L, so you can see there is like a curve. But I think that here there is a curve. Okay, and then after it, I can press with Alt click this one and then enlarge a little bit. Okay, So if you remember, I'll click again to select all the loop, and then Shift J, I can close this one and turn it as a body, as a solid. Okay. So this super simple. And then we have the scope. Probably I will make it less because right now the distance between these ones. So we are artists, okay? We are not scientists. So right now this is what I think that probably is the correct distance, okay? So I like a lot create stuff, but visually have my interpretation, because if I go here, okay, this one probably is 1.5 centimeters, I'm losing time. There is no time on the video game industry, so the production timing is super demanding, and you don't have time to think how many centimeters are going to happen here, right? So it's better to go like improve a little bit your skills and just change the mindset and go like, okay, like this. It's perfect, looks nice, go next. Okay. After it, okay, this one, for example, as this one have an issue, because right now I'm going to show you now, because, well, I will detail a little bit more this back first at doing that, because I want to show you how this issue is going to affect this one and it's going to affect this one piece. So one perspective issue can do a chain of issues at the same time, and you have to figure it out a little bit, okay, as an artist. So yeah, this is what it is. I mean, it usually happens always. So for me, it's normal. Okay. So we are going to make this one face bigger, like this. Okay. Probably I will say that this asset have more more weight. Okay. And then this turns a little bit less. And we have space here to put this kind of buttons and all the manufactured lines. Okay. So yeah, super fun practice. Let's continue. Here we have two fillets that looks like also don't have the same density that these ones, but more like this, okay? And then these ones is smaller. So you can see it's smaller. So what we have to do here to achieve this kind of detail, okay, is to do a cut again. So, but I'm going to do a cut with the proper size, okay? So how I can do that? So I basically take the current rectangle, okay, that this one, that if you remember is to create the boxes. And then I'm going to select the vertex mode, select these two ones, S, the scale, and then I'm going to scale these ones like this. So right now I have like a shape that is going to help to me a lot to achieve this kind of detail, okay? See, it should be a border there. Yeah, should be a border, and also should be like a degree, right? So this should be like also the same, to have the same degree, okay? But in that case, anyways, I'm going to avoid that, but yeah, exactly. Hot tops. The floor really reminds me of hard tops. So, okay, yeah, Simona, you are correct. So right now here we need like a border, and also this one should be like with some degrees. I detected super fast, but in any case, we are going to let it strike, and let's see, maybe in later I'm going to modify it. Okay, so let's do this detail here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically select this one, and if I press tab I'm going to do the both sides. So if I press tab, as you can see, I do this both sides, and this is super cool because sometimes when I when I started to learn plasticity, it was like this, and then okay, I'm going to delete this one or hide the curves, and then go there, okay, like this. And no, there is like a shortcut, man. There is a shortcut that you can press basically up, and you have the both sides, and it's super cool. Yeah. So right now, what I want is a Boolean, okay? I want a Boolean, and then I will make it much better, this one, because right now it's not fitting well with what I want. So I'm going to do a Boolean, but I'm not going to save the Boolean, because I don't care. Right now it's not a Boolean that I need, okay, to maintain. So I'm going to put it more back, then like this. Okay, perfect. More or less looks like this, right? Maybe I did too much. Too much, yeah. Too much. And then also what you are seeing right now is that after I'm going to do this detail, okay? So this is the reason why right now you don't see a perfect shape in that point, but I'm going to do it after, okay? First of all, it's just a blockout. It's true that with plasticity, the blockout should usually is super detailed because it's super fast to create things, okay? And yeah, usually the blockout is super close to the real concept, okay? Like this, perfect. Probably, let's see. Probably this one should be more in top like this, and then this less, okay? And I'm going to avoid the information on the other side because it's super easy and super quick after take alt X, then symmetry, okay? So for me, I'm going to avoid the other side. I'm going to focus only on this side, okay? Perfect, we have this. Maybe we can create the cut over there, like, okay, let me like rotate this maybe 30 degrees, it's okay. And then 50 degrees again, like this, okay? And then I'm going to do the cut over there like this. I'm going to select this one like this, okay? I select this one, cut, yeah, like this, and then delete this one. Then I'm going to select, and again, I'm going to do the cylinder, the huge cylinder that is coming here because it's a scope. So what I imagine, I don't have the super full concept over there, but I can imagine that there is going to be a super huge cylinder with the glass, because it's a scope. So probably it's going to happen that. And then like this, and this is the huge one, that is the gray one. And here I'm going to select the edge of the cylinder, Shift D, okay, and pressing double S again, I can do a smaller cylinder. Okay, so this is super cool. I mean, man, super fast results with no much effort. You have to need some knowledge, that's true, but super cool, super fun. Maybe I will reduce that. So if you think, okay, wow, I have to create again the cylinder because this is super huge right now. I want to it less huge. Don't worry, man. You can take just only the face and then at the same time push face, and you can push it and make it bigger or smaller. CAD modeling, it's super cool. Okay. And then maybe this one like this. Perfect. So we have more or less, if you go without this, like this, we have more or less this this shape. Okay, the shape, the main shape probably. But now we want more details. These cylinders, okay, more stuff. Okay. So let's do this one, for example. Yeah, the cylinders. We want cylinders, and the cool thing is that automatically, if I select the center circle, it's going to happen that the center face pivot point. So it's going to snap automatically. That's super cool, and it's going to create exactly a super nice distance between that curve and this and the circle, and that's super nice. I mean, I never found before a software that is super smart, you know? And yeah, I love it. So probably this one I'm going to make it less bigger. No, sorry. Maybe, yeah, this one is too huge. I'm going to reduce a little bit. This is Blockout state, so this is the job that you have to do, right? Is taking in consideration the sizes and everything, okay? Cool. And then I can drop over there the cylinder. That the cylinder, as I can see, is going to happen more in there, right? More here. So I'm breaking a little bit the distance between these parts, but that's it, man. I mean, it's a blockout. Okay, perfect. And then we have this shape that is basically the same as always. We can create that thing like this. Going there, X-ray. There it is. Boom, boom, pow. That's it. Okay, and we can go super fast with that software. And then this one is going to be less, because as you can see, this one is more or less maybe at the same point, but we are going to make it shorter. Okay. Maybe probably bigger. And then we are going to create the second variation, that is this one, make it smaller. And then I'm going to use the same. So there is two ways, okay? I'm going to show you two ways of that thing. One, sorry, I lost the screen. Okay, nice. Now, one part is like this, and then if you press A, so you have here a shortcut map. That's super cool, because if you press A, you can do that, and you don't have to waste time on creating again the sketch. But there is another way. Okay, this one is one option, but you don't have the curve. So this one, for example, have a small curve, slight curve there. Okay, but then there is another way, that this is this one. You can create this one, Shift D, make smaller, and L left. Okay. Obviously, after it, you have to create the Shift J, so you have to close the caps. Okay, it's the same. It's the same way, but the way that you are more comfortable to do is that way. Okay. In that case, I'm going to left this one and going there like this. Perfect. And then, oh, remember, oh, now we are using O. Super cool. And after it, I'm going to show you one new tool that is called Imprint. Okay, so if I want this detail is with the square. I'm going to put this one over there. So you can do also fillets with the sketch. So if I press F, fillet, okay, we can do the chamfer and the fillet. I can do like this, then like this more or less, and you can do an imprint. And I'm going to show you what's an imprint. Imprint is basically, you can select the body, F imprint, with this one, and you're going to imprint the shape on the body. So right now you easily can do that. You can do like this. Okay. What I don't want, for example, is the deformation, and I want it super straight. Well, basically, no, it's okay, it's correct because it's following the curvature. Okay, it's following the curvature. So the normal direction is perfect. So right now you can, for example, do a fillet, and you have the proper detail. This one. It's super cool. Yeah, I love it. I love this tool when I discovered that. So, and at the same point, if you want to separate this one piece for this one, it's also super easy. You can just press C, va bene? Con italiano è C, and then press this face, and then enter, and you have this separated. And then you can clean up this one if you want, if you don't want. Okay, that's super cool. But in that case, well, this is a small detail. We are going to let like this at the moment, but I just wanted to show you how it works, the imprint tool. But first step is doing the blockout, okay? After it, we can do, for example, here also the radial array, okay, and the other tools that there is a lot of super cool tools. Okay, so let's continue with this one top buttons. Okay, we are going to go with this one after, because this one is going to provide us a lot of problems, because right now, as I mentioned before, this is not the same angle that this one, so it's going to provoke a little bit of troubles there. But anyways, we are artists, so we have to manage all these situations. It's true that this one, for example, I didn't like it because I prefer snap, and I prefer, as this is where you put the eye, right? Should be something like this, right? Just super slightly, but yeah, like a little bit of angle. And then obviously, why not this? Okay, perfect. This one I'm going to do, okay, here I'm going to do a difference, Q, E, okay, because I want to respect this one, because I want the line over there at the moment. Maybe probably in the end, I'm going to join this one, Alt, and then like this. But I will show you how to do the high poly after, because the high poly is going to help us a lot with that things. This one, as I can see, should be less, like this more or less, and this one again, we have like this kind of detail. Super cool detail. Okay, perfect. Then super easy. I can do the symmetry, and that's it. Perfect. The micro details like the bolts and all this stuff, probably I'm going to do a couple, but I'm not going to do all of them because it's basically Shift D and place them. But it's not something important. What I want you guys is to understand how the plasticity works, the workflow of the plasticity works. Okay, is a fast tool to create blockout for hard surface stuff, and it's super. It lets to you a lot of clean mesh for after create a nice high poly and then a nice low poly. So yeah, I'm going to create this one. There are different ways also, but I'm going to create like a line, Chi to make the cut, and then I have the cut here, okay? And then again, I'm going to do Shift D to create again the same spline. I'm going to create again the cut. So right now I have this middle part that probably I mistake a lot with this proportion. So probably it's like this. And then if I move this one and then select the face, it's going to snap. Also, it's super nice. So yeah, more or less the distance here. Okay, distance here. Perfect. I mean, it works. And now I want this detail, right? For this detail, it's super simple. So I can create like a cube, and then like this, and then snap it in the middle. So I select all, a little sketch, and then snap it in the middle. That is this one, the middle. Okay. I probably will select the vertex like this, boom, and chi again. I will do a cut, and then imagine that I delete all these things. Okay, and now I have this in one because this is one, and this is one, and this is one. And it's like, okay, wow, how I can do well. Sorry. Yeah, this like this, and this like this. Probably I will say that this one is less. It's like this. Okay. And I can snap. Always I can snap the faces. Oh, no, you don't want to snap? Okay, yes. Okay, let's go there. Okay, perfect. And then here is like, okay, this piece should be the same, have the same cut over there. So what I can do is select the face, plane from selection, Alt X, and now I have the same. And it's true that now I mess up this one, but let me show you some tricks. So what I'm going to do is to snap it with the same point here. Okay, with control I can do it anyways. And then I can pick up this one mesh, this one. No, basically I can pick just this one. So I will select the new one and then this one and do a cut. So yeah, sorry guys. I'm going to hide it because right now I have a lot of information there. So it's super useful to hide every time the bodies if you have a lot of different assets there because sometimes. And then I'm going to do like this. Okay, select this one, C, chi, Italiano. Oh, sorry, this one. Okay, and now I have the piece. You understand that is not super difficult. Then I'm going to do like this. Okay, perfect. So right now I have this shape over there, and it's true that the high poly, the ZBrush high poly, is going to provide me some super cool bevel. This is the reason why I'm not going to do microfillets. Okay, no microfillets, because if you are going to do microfillets like this, then if you want to do a poly, it's going to be a fucking hell, basically. Okay, so it's better to let the microfillets apart and let this job to ZBrush. ZBrush is going to do this job for us. Okay, I'm going to show you some tools that ZBrush after it. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. This one have a little bit of curvature over there, so probably what I'm going to do, I didn't think it before, but what I'm going to do is basically do a fillet there. It's not a micro fillet, but I'm going to do a fillet of 0.50. This one, yes, because it's not something that is going to happen in the exterior like this. It's going to happen in the shape. This is part of shape. It's not part of height poly. Okay, so if it's part of shape, it's okay to do that fillet there. And then here I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to do 0.50, and that's it. Okay, we have there, and then here I'm going to do 0.50, like this, 0.50, 15 with n. And there the same, like 15. Perfect. So right now we have like the basics, no? We are super slowly, but we are detailing everything, and it's getting some shape, some cool shape, right? Right now we have this part, right? We have this other part. So it's super cool. And also this one, but probably this one is smaller and it's going to be more there. This one is going to fit here. Okay. Cool, guys. It's 7:30 p.m. If you want, I can let a little bit of 10 minutes if you have some questions, okay? Just in case that the people that is following the small task have some questions, okay? So let's just respond a little bit the questions that you have. I'm going to read the chat. The workflow reminds Blender. I don't know. Blender is a software that I don't have a lot of practice with it, just in rendering and all this stuff. Someone is writing. If you have questions, please just ask me. Se avete domande, chiedetemi. Potete scrivere in italiano o inglese. Capisco le due lingue. Okay, at the same time, I'm going to keep working on that, okay? Because if not, we are going to finish. Never. Okay, maybe probably here, I'm going to put like a kind of. It's true that at some point, if you have some creativity, imagination, maybe it's better just to follow your thoughts, right? On how this can be. For example, I don't have information there, but I feel that it's something like this. And then maybe probably a little bit in the top. And this one maybe embeds a little bit, maybe until the middle. No, just a little bit. Okay. And maybe this one is going to be like there. Like more there, like this. Thank you. Well, it's not finished. I didn't finish the masterclass yet, so we have more things to do. But yeah, thank you so much for. Yeah, I mean, it's something that at first Plasticity looks a software that is super strange, but at the same time, when you take the practice and if you put a lot of hours, you will see that it's super easy. I mean, it's not super complex, but thank you so much. I mean, I'm here to teach you guys. If you don't understand anything, Imprint is so cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's super useful, and I like it because for doing head gears, for example, it's super useful because it's a rounded face. So at some point, if you have a sphere and you create anything that needs some curve, it's super cool to do. Super cool to do. Some curve, for example, F imprint there. So yeah, you have the shape, and then you can press Shift D and create like a sheet. Okay, you can create the sheet, and then you can extrude that sheet. So if you press E, you can extrude that sheet. Okay, but at first you have to put the pivot point correctly, like this. And then press E. And probably, yeah, if you have the normal is super important. In any case, you can normal direction. I mean, you can press there, see, well, and you have the separated axis there. That is super cool. You see that in the Imprint that flies like under camera lenses from the curve. How would the approach if that part was flat? The same. I mean, it's not only for the curve surfaces. If you have a flat surface, it's the same. It's going to be the same, right? The thing is that the cool thing of Imprint is that it's going to adapt with the curved surface. If you have a flat surface, basically is much easier to create directly the sketch, right? So you can create the sketch, or you can create a curved sketch like this. You know, I mean, it's much better like this. Seen that the Imprint. Per questa dimostrazione stai usando la versione in studio di Plasticity. Al terminare della dimostrazione potresti indicare la differenza. Questo lo hai sulla web page di Plasticity, e poi vedere le differenze che ci sono between the indie version and the studio version. I think I have the studio version because I have 5 licenses of Plasticity, and I have like the Plasticity. I have another computer. I have Plasticity another computer. The only thing that you have to take in consideration is that Plasticity is forever, but the updates of Plasticity you have only the first 12 months or 1 year. So I bought Plasticity 1 year or 2 years ago, so I have to buy now the last version, because I don't have the 26 version right now. I think I have the 25, or maybe the first one 26, and there is a lot more versions of that. It's the only thing, and you have to pay like 100 euros extra, but maybe each 2 years or 3 years far. There is the program some tab like pref with the various shortcut. Yeah, I think so. You can find the all the shortcuts here on navigation. No, general. That's weird because new window quizzes. Probably there is a. I will share with you guys. I will share with you that, and then the materials also. I'm going to forget that, but yeah, I'm going to share with you all the like a kind of table with all the shortcuts, because yeah, I understand that there is a lot of shortcuts to understand, and it's super difficult to take them all in mind. Yeah. It's not totally clear to me how the topology works in Plasticity. Yeah, I'm going to show that after. Okay, maybe I'm going to do it super fast. Depend on you guys. If you want me to finish this asset, it's going to take longer. But if you want to learn more about the technique of Plasticity, just let me know, because I can explain you more on the other side. Okay. But there is, yeah, it's super important. I'm going to show you guys how it works. Just depend. Maybe I'm going to detail a little bit more some part of it, because obviously with 2 hours and 3 hours is not possible. But I'm going to detail a little bit more that, and then after it, I'm going to show you how it works with Plasticity, the pipeline to turn it in high poly and then low poly. It's totally normal that you don't understand that, because I didn't explain that yet, but yeah, I'll lead to the systems painter on. Okay, thank you so much. Last question, I promise. Now don't worry, ask me anything you want. Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. There is the Plasticity manual there. Okay, thank you so much. Last question, I promise. How do you approach more organic models? Plasticity is not the best software to create organic shapes. So it's a software that it's super fast and super cool for more less organic shapes. It's so that you can do the pipes, some pipes, for example, you can do like this, okay? And then you can move, for example, this vertex, you can move it and decide where you want to put that. And then if you press P, you can turn it as pipe, and that's it. You have a cable. But and then if you want, for example, I don't know, create a like this. Let's do that. Let's create, for example, this one like this. Shift D, add, and then I select this too. Cube view, and then Shift X. If I do like this and I press L, for example, L. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but you can model organic shapes, but you have to need more knowledge. You have to work with the curves, for example, centric point arc. You can centric point arc, no, 3-point. You can go there, do like this, and then this one is going to help here, and then if you go there, press G1, G2, no. But yeah, you can create some kind of. Then if you, for example, this one, yeah, is going to work probably. As you can see, you can go there, and then again you can go there, and like this, and you have more organic shapes that you can decide how to adapt them. And then after it, maybe probably you have the shape thanks to that, and join it, and then extrude that a little bit, and you can create this kind of things, more. This is the complex part of plasticity, right? Because it's not the easiest one, because this is more organic. But you can create kind of organic shapes, like the hips for the weapons use this kind of methodology of work. For example, a grip, you can choose, for example, this one. You can take this, Shift D, Shift D again, and then I rotate it like this. If you like this, if you select by order, you can create this curve there, And after it, I will, for example, want to close this close. I'm doing it super fast just to show you how much organic can be plasticity, right? Can go with this one, this one again here, for example, and I can make a cut these ones, and then have a kind of super quick hit. Okay, probably one that is super quick. It's not proper long, but and then, for example, if you go with Shift S, probably it's not going to work because right now I have a lot of information there. Because I have these ones. But if I don't have these ones, probably you press Shift S, you can have this kind of vertex that provides you this kind of freedom to move them. Like this, for example, I can take these ones, move them like this. So probably it's much better to take these ones, for example, and do like this, or this. So this one is super, super rare to see on a CAD software. Super rare because don't usually use this kind of tools, people don't usually use this kind of tools for plasticity, but you can achieve this shape, right? This is the most organic freedom you have inside plasticity. And then after it, you can do that. Okay. In the official website, there is a list of shortcuts. Good. Probably you have already said it. In which software do you republish it for the low poly? I use 3D Max, but you don't need to retopo everything. Obviously, if you have this, yes, because have a lot of organic shape, or this one probably yes, but you don't have to retopo. The normal thing is not to retopo everything. Maybe the cylinders is the only thing that plasticity didn't export properly, but the other stuff, yes. So I'm going to show you guys how to do the low poly properly. Maybe I will take this one that is easy, and then I'm going to show you how to clean up this mesh, because plasticity is a CAD modeling and then software and didn't understand 100% how the topology works for the video game pipeline, right? for printing and all this stuff. Yes, there is another software that is called Pixies. And there you can export the geometry with a much better topology, and you have to clean up less. So what it provides to you is basically more speed process on the production process. Okay. It's a software that I'm thinking to purchase, by the way, because for me as a freelancer, the time is gold. For me, having the proper tools to speedrun as much as possible to give and provide the maximum quality as possible, for me is the main thing. Okay. So yeah, Pixies is another software, but I'm not going to show you guys today Pixies because it's another software and I don't have it yet. So yeah, but we can start with Plasticity. At least all these projects that I did are done with 3D Max. You know, I clean up everything with 3D Max on this one. So as you can see here, for example, the mesh, all it's cleaned up in 3D Max. You know, and it takes time for sure. A lot of days until 2 a.m. But yeah, anyways, this is the 3D artist way, man. That's it. Okay, no more questions. Let's continue with that. Because we have time, man. I mean, until 9. I know that at Italy, you usually do the dinner super, super early. But most of you maybe are going to go to dinner. But yeah, at Spain, no. At Spain, you usually go to 10 o'clock or 9:30. Okay, let's continue with that, okay? Because I want to show you the reason why this is not clear at all. But first, I'm going to do this part here, okay? That is super easy. It's all time the same. So we can just create this one and then F, fill it. And that's it. I have it. Tab, I select this one. I keep it because I want to do the same here. And this one, for example, is not needed. I have this folder. And then the North people maybe. Okay. Okay, yeah, I know that North people from Italy, they usually have dinner at 7 o'clock, and it's like, what the fuck? At Spain, we usually go later. But yeah, good to know, good to know. Okay, this one, for example, is not going super there. It's more close. This one, sure that is. And there. Okay. In the meantime, if you have some questions, I'm super happy to help with you guys on all this. Okay, let's continue. Probably more or less like this. Okay. And here I didn't did the fillet, but no worries. I can do like this. Then plane from selection, alt text, boom. That's it. PQ, and it's done. Okay, and I have this part, this button. The button is going to be less. Okay, and then yeah, like this. Then what I like also is let a little bit of clipping there, and then I press this one, the big shape, the button, then I respect button, and then with ZBrush, once I'm going to do the high poly stage, what is going to happen is that effect. And I like it because it looks like the button is properly put inside the mechanism, you know. And this is called manufacturing line. I like it. Is for me is a must, you know, if you are doing hard surface. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. Let's continue. There is also a symmetry there, and probably I'm going to adapt this one there. this how I imagine, you know, how it is, but there's a different ways. Each artist is going to do this task multiple different ways, you know. This is my way, but yeah, it's true that right now we have not super lot of time for doing that, but this is why I'm speed running a little bit. But it's true that if I have more time, obviously I'm going to put more details, you know, like these stripes and all that stuff. But yeah, it's super simple right now. It's like the blockout. It's like a more detailed blockout, right? For example, this one that I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. This one, for example, I'm going to show you and teach you another thing is that if I want this snapping on stripe, I can snap now because there is no a rail that provides me the information to snap it. I'm going straight on the point. So what it happens here is that if you press shift, double shift, it creates a rail, a purple rail that provides me the snapping point. So I can directly like going super strike on that point. And for me, it's super interesting because then with T trim, this happened. This is the same short. No, it's not the same shortcut, but it's called the same on 3D Max trim. I can delete these ones. Now I can create for both things, the body or the cat. Okay, because I created that in the right side, so I can create right now this detail. Right, I go here and rotate it 100 degrees right here. And now I can do a cut. Boom. And that's it. And obviously when I do a cut, it's going to affect both sides. And for example, if I want more deepness, okay, no. But if I want more deepness anyways, I can always take back, going back and going more deepness over there and select this. Now I can delete. So I have the detail over there. Okay. Oh, all the explanation before I did. Perfect. Let's go with that part, okay? I know, okay, this one, sorry, this one should be, this needs like a slice there, like this, and it's okay. This one, I'm going to show you why it's not perfectly done. And it's okay because the concept, this is a concept. The concept, it means that it provides you some information that after it, you have to interpret it and be the much closer as possible on the concept because it's a concept, you know. It's not you have must do that like this. Okay, we are not mechanical engineers. We are artists. Okay, so right now we need to do this. So I'm going to create this small box over there. And then I'm going to do the fillet, okay? The fillet is going to be like this, or less, okay? And as I can see, this is going to affect until the bottom. What it means that this is going to be until the bottom, okay? And then going to the top, but in the maximum top also, okay? This Booleane, because it's affecting this right now, okay? And you're going to see what is going to happen. If I do the Booleane, I keep it, and then I will keep it, and I'm going to tell you after why I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to hide it. But this is what is happening, okay? And I knew it because I saw it before, and this is what it happened. That this part is not going to fill out never with the same with the same angle as you want, because this one have angle, you know, and this one no, this is a straight face. So it's not never going to happen this distance over there. Okay. Say that probably this face right now is with some degrees in this side, and maybe if it's like this, as you can see, yes, have sense, right? Have sense. But well, if you want, we can let like this. It looks much sci-fi, right? The detail. But like this, yes, is doing the correct shape, right? Probably right now, yeah, the field is not fitting super well, but yeah, right now is correct way to do that. And then this one should be less, so it should fit there. I to have the same. Align it a little bit. We can align it super accurate, doing moving with with B, okay. And with boot, you can move properly with control. You can snap with this vertex, okay. So now it's super accurate. But again, it's not super exact, because right now this one, for example, is super out, right? But have sense, because this one is super flat face and this one is skewed face. So this is the reason why. More or less, we figured out that it's not the best result. For example, I don't like this fillet. So what I'm going to do is maybe, yeah, it's super strange fillet for me. Yeah, probably this have more here, more angle there. Then I'm going to move that G, B, control, snap. Okay, super easy. And then maybe I probably will put this like this. And I don't like the fillet, to be honest, here. Just have like a super strange shape, right? But anyways, it's the shape. It's correct shape, but the perspective doesn't help a lot. But it's proper shape right now, as you can see there. Okay, cool, guys. We can continue with this small box. But you saw, right? The problem there is not a problem. Sorry, I say it all the time. It's a problem. It's not a problem. It's something that all the 3D artists have to figure out. You know, it's our job. It's not something that the concept have to pay super extra attention. If it pays super extra attention, it's okay. But sometimes timelines is not in that way, and it didn't help to you to create something with that precision. Okay. And then I'm going to move that a little bit like this. After the masterclass, I'm going to share with you guys this file. And if you want to use it to practice at home, it's going to be perfect. Okay. For me, the masterclass of today, for me, is just to provide you guys as much as possible information and knowledge. And then after it, just keep doing hours and hours. It's just like this, you know. Also, if you want to do, for example, the arrow design, just create an arrow like this. Well, I'm going to show you one thing. You can create an arrow if you press Ctrl and with the wheel, sorry, Shift and with the wheel, you can reduce. As you can see here, there is like, when you create that, there is like a shortcut map. Shift wheel up and down, you can create the cross, right? And then it's true that you have to create properly a line. So like this, okay? And then you can do the fillet, but if you press B, you can do the fillet, and then you can create the cross over there. I have crossed the arrow, sorry. As again, And we can go G there, boom, out, and like this. So we have this one. Oh, okay, it's another side, so no problem. Control, rotate 180 degrees, shift the D 180 degrees again. And we can go over there like this and like this. Okay, guys. As you can see, it's not super difficult. Just to have in mind how the shortcuts works, and it's not difficult. It's not a software. It's a software super frequently used. It's not like, for me, for example, Blender is super difficult, right? But because I always work with 3D Max and Plasticity. Now what I do is the bridge in Blender with Plasticity. So you can bridge Blender with Plasticity, and at the same time, in real time, you can see all the changes that you are doing inside Plasticity in Blender. And what provides to you is that kind of results. I'm going to show you. This one is the 3D Max Plasticity pipeline, and this one is the Blender Plasticity pipeline. Because right now I'm designing, I'm not doing the final mesh for a video game. This one is not a final mesh for a video game. This is a design, right? I'm doing some design studies behind all the mechanisms and all this stuff. And after it, what I do is with Blender nodes, you don't need UVs and baking the mesh. Just Blender nodes, and with Blender nodes, you have kind of textures that you can texture all the asset without UV needs. No. But because I'm designing, it's not for to play video game. Okay, this one is like a design, but this one, yes, this 100% can be inside a video game. Okay, because have proper topology, and this one again the same. Okay, so what I recommend to you guys is also having both things, right? If you have design at the same time, you have something that it's for video games, it's cool because you have knowledge of both sides. And then for AAA things, people didn't usually show topology, but because it's understand that you know how to do proper topology, right? Because I have the response team was behind me to provide me some information of how to do the topology, you know, and all this stuff. So yeah. Okay. Let's continue with that. We have right now this detail. I can press O, and I can create this thing, and then like this. Oh, that's perfect. And then here, the question that I had before, right, is how you can do. We can do the same in the flat faces. Sure, it's not needed imprint in that case. So right now you can just press adapt a little bit this thing, and then more or less, right? Probably I like more like this. Like more like this. Yeah. And then fill it and just basically do that like this. Okay, so it's not needed to do the imprint in that point. You can do that, yeah, but you are going to lose time. Another thing is if you press face and then Control-2, Control-do it, you can change the. So you select the face and then Control-do it. It's going to select all the edges that are going to affect the face, right? At that point is this one. For example, here, Control-do it is going to select all the face and all the edges that are at the face. Yeah, okay. The perimeter edge. Yeah, exactly, the perimeter edge. Okay, that's super cool because right now I'm super fast. I don't have to select one by one. Or also you can do the loop if it's going to do the loop Alt Control. It's the same. But there are three different ways to do that. Okay, Control Alt Alt click, sorry, alt click. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do this and then probably like this. And I am trying to make this smaller. Probably, yeah, I don't like it. I'm going to do that deeper. So I'm going to pick them like this, or probably I'm going to pick all these ones and put it a little bit more like this. And then I'm going to delete this. Sometimes it happens that you have a cube, okay, or a surface. Like, I don't know, right now I don't find it, but sometimes if you press Ctrl R, you can create edges, okay? Ctrl R, Ctrl R. I think it's in Italian, I don't know, R. It's like Ctrl plus R. R, okay, va bene. And then you can, for example, you can do like this, and super cool, wow. But also, if you press this, the solid and the pie menu, and you can create the delete redundant topology, this is going to happen. Redundant topology, it means that plasticity detects the edges that didn't need are not important for the solid, okay? Are not important edges that needs information for having all this. For example, this one, if I do that here, is not going to delete this one because this one is needed to have this curvature, right? Let's try, maybe right now, yes. Delete, no topology, okay? It's not going to delete that because it's needed. It's needed to have this curvature. But this one, so only the edges needed for the shape. Yeah, only the edges needed for the shape are going to be maintained on the solid, but the ones that know that are useless, if you press F, delete, redundant topology, you're going to clean up them. So it's super powerful tool also, because sometimes now no, because it's a super simple asset, but when you have a super complex asset, sometimes it happens that you have edges over there, and it's not super good to have them because when you turn the topology in low poly, this edge is going to affect to the final exporting, and it's not needed. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. Here we can do, okay, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to avoid the small details, but as you can see, we have a lot of stuff over there is taking shape. It's taking shape. Super cool. Probably this one, I'm going to say that is like this, okay? And if it's not like this, for me, have more sense doing like this. And then, for example, at least this is designing, right? You are like taking in consideration how it looks overall mesh, but wow, it turns super cool in the end. Obviously, I'm explaining, I'm at the same time taking some breaks, sorry. Um, this is what it is. I mean, if I'm super focused, I can finish it super fast. But for me, it's not the point of this masterclass. For me, the point of this masterclass is that you can learn as much as possible. And if you have some questions, please just reach out to me. I'm going to let also my social media after the masterclass, and just reach out to me and ask anything that you want. Okay. Um, okay. So, for example, oh, this one, maybe symmetry. Also, this one should be in symmetry. Yeah. This one should be in symmetry, right? This one is symmetry, right? Like this. Perfect. Yeah, probably right now it's true that this should be less. Okay. But what we're going to do is like this, is reduce a little bit this one. Yeah. we are going to reduce a little bit this one. I'm going to mess up this, but I'm going to reduce the angle there. Okay, because it's like this. Yeah, this is an issue, but anyways, probably we expect that, right? That this is not super well done in that point. But yeah, anyways, or if I have this super large surface there, that I have the same distance, or maybe I mess up this. So, well, anyways, we can let like this. Okay, okay, I will delete these ones. Then like this, like this. Perfect. Okay, and this one's QQ, remember? And this one's QQ, okay? Because these ones are going to be one. This one piece is going to be one. Perfect. This is going to have fillet over there. And this one will have the same issue, right? This looks like a super straight mesh, okay, of the concept, but right now we have an angle over there. So probably what we can do here is start with a imprint. Okay, we are going to use imprint over there, or we can go with a point selection. So we can use the plane, right, like this plane, and now I'm going to create the sketch with that direction. Okay, so for me right now it works perfect. That's it. I can go there. Boom. And here I'm going to have fillet, right? And then here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to think it after, not now. Okay, I'm going to do like this, or better, I'm going to do a cut there. Okay, I'm going to select that and then cut. And then I have this piece, right? I have this piece that can go out right now. And then this one here should be like this, right? But it's not straight face, so this is going to have some messy silhouette. But anyways, we have this, and we can go more in detail, right? We can go like maybe, for example, doing this kind of fillet, then we can do this detail, put this different, maybe reduce this one, sorry, fillet, reduce this one, sorry, can reduce this a little bit, put like this, and then this one delete, like this, and for achieve that, right now what I can do is the Booleane. Okay, now we have the proper shape. So left side I have this thing, and then I have this thing, and then for this one I will say to create a box. Okay, then S, and then, well, again I have to go probably with the sketch, so I have to go there, have to go with plane selection, I have to create this, and then trying to figure out the this whole, right, like this. Then F, fillet, then select this one, cut, and I can now super easily move this one back, right? But again, iterate, and then after it, maybe we can achieve this proper proper silhouette. For example, right now I have this piece and this piece over there. What I need is just to do a cut with this shape, right? If I press C, okay, maybe probably the best way should be with the plane again. So don't delete the plane. This one, the sketch, sorry. Going there again, like this. So we have this, and then we have to go with that face. Going there, and then with the plane, the same plane, do that intersection with this gap, basically. Okay, now, yeah, now I did the proper job well. Going there, I'm probably a little bit deeper. This is not too much deep. Yeah, like this. Okay, we can go super far with the details, but it's true. For example, this fillet is super huge right now, right? But anyways, this happened because while I rotate, the fillet turns super big. But this was the issue. This is how I interpret my interpretation of the asset. It's true that right now here it's quite different, but yeah, it is what it is. We have to figure it out always, right? Okay, maybe this one I can like this, or this one, no, more it back, then this one like this. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. Let's go like this. Okay. This one should be again also the other part. Oh, I wait. I did this one. Sorry. Okay, this one like this. Okay, we have it. Woo! Cool. Yeah, this part I don't know. It looks like this is a Piccadilly rail. It's called like this. I don't know why, because the guy that invented that thing is called like this. But this piece usually goes to the rail of top of the weapon, and then you can like figure out the distance you want the scope, right? But I'm going to avoid this piece. I don't have too much information to know how it works, right? Perfect. To do this, what I usually do, this piece, it's probably 100% that you have to redo that inside 3D Max. But what I do usually is to recreate it anyways inside Plasticity. Okay, so what I do is to put a sphere, and then SS, more or less like this. Then I do this. I do the scale. Okay, in that way, and then I put like this, and make sure that is fitting all the. Okay, probably it's too much. Like this, and make a scale. A bit more in the back, like this. So I usually recreate because I like it. We can do the same, and we can reduce that for this part, right? Because it looks like here we have the same. 180. 180. Perfect. And I'm going to snap the gizmo there to snap properly in the face. Okay. And then like this, more or less. Because what happened here is that the middle point of this one is not the same middle point of this one, because as you remember, we put it a little bit down. this one. Okay, so we are going to try to figure out how this one works. It's over there. There. It's not. Okay, cool. Oh, well, basically, oh, no, doesn't work. It's not. It snap. More or less there. Okay. And then if we want the shape properly, the shape, because sometimes it happened that that it rests a little bit of geometry. What we can do is to take basically a Boolean. I repeat, this is not the final one mesh, because this one is going to be done properly inside the 3D Max, because the geometry of this one is a mess, because it's super curvy mesh, right? In Plasticity. This one maybe I will do that like this. Okay, so wow, we have something solid, right? Probably we have just few details, no? Like this one detail, but we have a lot of stuff done. 100%. Okay, I'm going to maybe share with you some tips. This one probably, yeah, like this, because yeah, this fillet should be like this, and this one probably this one. Here I have this thing. What I'm going to do is to delete that. No, sorry, to attach this one with this one. So I'm going to do QQ, and I'm going to do again the symmetry. I can do the symmetry right now. Point. I'm going to do the symmetry. I don't know why. Because it's super complex mesh right now. Here, probably it's not bending correctly there. Right now, yes, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so right now we have a blockout, solid blockout. Okay, it's not super final, but it's 8 and 20. Probably is not. I'm not going to finish everything. It's impossible because it takes longer, right? But what I'm going to show you is how to do that thing. Okay, this one probably is going to have like this kind of fillet at the bottom. This is not microfillet. Okay, this is, you can consider this like huge fillet. Okay, so it's okay for the 3D Max step after. ZBrush, sorry. Yeah. This one, I'm going to try to fit this like this. If you press Shift, you can go slowly. Now I go with some kind of degrees, snap, okay? But if I press Shift, it's more accurate. So right now I can control much better the fillet, right? If I press Shift, boom, yeah, like this. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then this one detail, this one detail, and this one detail. Remember, is a simple array. Okay, it's a radial array, super simple radial array with a Boolean. Okay, but for me it's okay to let this asset to you like this. You know why? Because I will give you this asset, and I would like to let you finish this asset. Okay, so for me it's like, okay, it's cool, because we are going to figure out something cool in the end that you can just put some screws, or maybe doing the arrays, okay, and this kind of details like this. As I show you, this detail is the same like this one. Okay, so you have to create only the circle, then the rectangle, here shift, remember, and you have this, and then shift D, and that's it. You have the detail. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to show you how to do this thing, and after it, I think that's it. Okay, let's go. Let's go. So what I'm going to do is shift, and then I'm going to now create the center circle. Okay, and then I'm going to use the rectangular array, decrease this 3, for example, or 4. Let's say 4, and reduce a little bit the scale. This one. And then I'm going to create a proper spline curve that comes from here, and then like this and this, for example. Then I can figure out, as I showed you before, I can take the vertex and then I can move them properly and curvely. So yeah, like this, for example, like this, this. And then let's do a test, because I never tested it before with 3 circles directly. 4, sorry. Okay, I'm trying to figure out that. F, sweep. Wow, that's incredible, no? It's super cool, no? It's the first time that I'm doing that. But you saw that, right? That you can take different shapes, and at the same time, with the same shapes, you can use the same spline. It's crazy, right? It's super cool. And then after it, if you feel that this is super huge, you can reduce the thickness, and then remember to close the geometry, because then you can turn from sheet, sorry, to solid. Okay, that's super cool. And these ones are sweeps but are solids. Now you can do a proper fillet or anything you want. Okay, so guys, I prefer to show you how to do the high poly, for example, of this part. Okay, because this part is super interesting, because you have the intersections, and it's super cool to see how this turns after. And then also with the same piece, I'm going to do the low poly, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit how it works. Okay. So what I'm going to do is the following steps. Okay, I'm going to pick up these pieces. Okay, and these pieces, I'm going to export them as a height poly. I'm going to export them as a height poly. Okay, if I do export, so before that, yeah, this one, for me, in my opinion, is a good start to give you and provide you this file, and then at home, take your time to put the screws, all the micro details. Okay, I feel that right now we have nice structure, nice base, and then you can just figure out your screws. And anyways, if you want, for example, change a little bit the pattern of anything, you can do that. Okay, just to let you know that right now the plasticity side it's end. Okay, so if you have some questions, please just note them, and then after the masterclass, I'm going to let 20 minutes to respond anything that I can, obviously. No NDA, no NDA stuff, please. Joking. Okay. perfect. After it, I'm going to pick these pieces. Okay, I'm going to isolate them, and then I'm going to export as a high poly stage. So I'm going to export on my desktop piece high poly, right? And there is the interesting part that I didn't remember the name, but someone asked to me how to turn all the geometry all with geometry, right? And as you can see, this is a fucking shit geometry. Sorry for the vocabulary, but that's it. It's true. So for the high poly, it's going to be like that. Then after it, I'm going to show you the low poly. Okay. For the high poly, it's like this. Going to trees, density 0.5, 1 more or less 1.05. Then max width, and then no max width only. I mean width didn't need, and then control the max width. So if right now I press 0.5, nothing happened. 0.2, nothing happened. Let me share. 0.05 probably. Yeah, okay, because it needs a lot of intensity, so a lot of iterations. So because it's a small piece, okay, if it's a huge piece, it takes longer. 0.01, for example. Okay, I like it more. 0.005. Okay, maybe much, but much. I have to go super far with this one. Maybe now it's too much. Maybe my computer explodes. Hopefully no. If it explodes, if you remember, I didn't save it in any time. I didn't save the file. But the cool thing, does it have autosave? But the cool thing of plasticity is that if it explodes right now, for example, explode, okay? If I open again the plasticity file, plasticity remembers the file. Obviously, if you go here and create new, you're done, right? But remembers everything because it is not super huge file. Plasticity, it works with CAD modeling. CAD modeling is super less consuming than real topology. So this is the cool thing of plasticity. Obviously, I'm going to save now. In any case, masterclass, for example, masterclass. Here, masterclass. Masterclass. Okay, I'm going to say, but yeah, this is the cool thing also about plasticity, that this is not super consuming software. It's more consuming Blender or 3D Max or Maya than plasticity. That's great. It's super cool because it's CAD modeling. There is no super lot of information on that. So I'm going to export again, and this time I'm not going to put super huge topology. Okay. Let's put 1 here. Okay, let's put 1. And then here I'm going to put 0.005, probably more than that. 0.005. Okay, more. It depends on the hitchiness of the piece, right? There is not like a correct number. 0.005, let's see. I think. Nice. Okay, now it turns super blue, and this is okay. For the high poly is perfect. Because right now, as you can see, there is like super small quads. And for me, this works fine. Why? Because it's a kind of dynamesh mesh that I did inside plasticity. So for ZBrush, it's going to be super easy to understand that mesh, right? If I put super low poly mesh, ZBrush is going to put like a fucking mess, and we don't need that. Okay. Okay. let's export that and wait a little bit because it takes a little. Depends on also on your computer. I think I have a powerful computer, so it's not going to take super long. Now it takes fire. Imagine an exploded computer. It's like, okay. Any questions at the meantime? Okay, no, that's not. That's it. It's done. It's done. No questions after it. Masterclass, and now I have the high poly here. As you can see, I have the high poly. But first, I'm going to use 3D Max because me, okay, is because let me put more ISO like this. This is because I don't know. I prefer always to import on ZBrush with FBX instead of OBJ. Sorry. And don't ask me why. I like that, like this. I prefer that. So also I make sure that the size of the asset is correct, right? It's not that I don't trust with plasticity. I trust plasticity, but I prefer to do that step. Yeah, for me it's like for make sure everything. So I'm going to import, and then here pay attention model units centimeters, because if you have meters at plasticity and then centimeters at 3D Max, is going to do a mess. Okay, so pay attention with that. So here we have centimeter, here we have centimeter. I'm going to import as a single mesh, okay, and import it. And oh my god, I really prefer FBX files as well. I always had issues with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why for me it's much easy to make sure, just for me, just to avoid issues or losing time, right? For me, it's much better. It's true that this one is going to be an issue for ZBrush because I didn't close that. I can close it here, but anyways, this thing I'm going to avoid that. And it's true, another thing that I didn't did is just only this one. This one only, please. Export, export again. I'm going to do again the export super fast. Okay. Yeah, because all the asset is going to be impossible today. I mean, I will teach you how to do that, and then after it, I prefer to let you to continue with that. So you are recording this masterclass. You can take this one as a reference, and then you can continue with that. I mean, yeah, have a lot of information. You can repeat again information. That's super cool. Okay, perfect. So now we have this mesh, and I make sure that the size is correct, okay, because the grill fits perfect with the asset dimensions. It's okay, perfect. The best way is going to box. Maybe probably I'm going 15 centimeters more or less. Perfect. And I take this one, export, and I will export as FX. FBX. That's the masterclass. High poly ZBrush. Save. Okay. Once I save it, I'm going to open ZBrush, and I will continue with the high poly stage. And I'm going to show you the magic of doing the high poly stage with that way, because there is three different ways. One way is doing with ZBrush. Another way is doing with the fillet, the blend. No, it's the bevel shader that Marmoset Toolbag have. Marmoset Toolbag 5 right now have like a shader that it's called bevel shader, and this modifies directly the normal map. But for me, is not an advantage, and I'm going to explain why. It's not an advantage 100%, but it's okay at some point. But for me, it's not an advantage 100% because in ZBrush you can do some retouches inside the high poly mesh that you have inside the ZBrush. With the bevel shader inside the marmoset, you can modify this bevel. Okay, so you can establish different sizes of the bevel, but you don't have a lot of freedom. And if I lose this freedom, for me, I lose time, and I don't need that. You know, I'm fluent, so what I want to do is the fastest way as possible, with the cleanest way as possible, with the high quality as possible, because the client is paying to me, so I have to do that correctly and properly. So you can do it properly with the shader, the bevel shader in Marmoset, but I feel that I don't have the 100% control of it. So I prefer the ZBrush, okay? And I'm going to show you super easy in ZBrush. It's true that maybe takes a little bit more time, obviously, but I have more freedom. And at least, probably, if the client is not happy with the bevels, it's going to take more time in the end, trying to figure out with the only normal map of the Marmoset toolbar in the end, and not to having the proper mesh, solid mesh with the bevel control. Okay, that's my thought. But I know that there are people at the industry that is using this way, and for me it's totally perfect. It's okay, but for me, I'm not sure 100%. Probably in the future I'm going to use that, but for me it's not the way right now. And the other way is basically doing the microfillets inside Plasticity. So you can take this one, and start to do the microfillets. But for me, it's not also the best way. Maybe at some points, but not the best way, because after it you have to do a cleanup for the this is the high poly, but then for the low poly you have to do that. So you have to clean up all the asset. Okay. So ZBrush, it's the way right now. FBX export, import, sorry. I'm going to import. I'm going to be super quick. I know you guys, you are hungry. Maybe you want to go to the dinner, but 50 minutes more, 1 hour, less than 1 hour more, please. Okay, let's go there. Desktop, masterclass, high poly. Okay, I hate this material, sorry. So I usually take the basic material one or the basic material 2, because I don't like the red one. For me, it's super difficult to see the shadowing. It's true that it's super cool for the brightness sides, but for the shadowing, no. So for me, it's super easy, this one, to see the shadowings. Okay, perfect. So we have the piece. So how I can turn this one as high poly mesh? Super easy. Here there is a guy that is super expert in ZBrush. So hopefully I'm doing this well. Polygroups, okay. Polygroups, I usually go to polygroups and then auto groups to make sure that all the different pieces are properly separated, okay. And then there is a different way. So I usually take this one and then subtool split hidden. Do the same with this one, split hidden. And this one also, maybe I can do the split hidden. This one, because it's a super small piece, but if you have the robot, the mech that I have, splitting all the pieces is a fucking mess. So it's better going geometry, and then when you do the dynamesh by groups. Okay. The most important thing is that you have the pieces by groups, by polygroups. Then if you split it or not, it depends on how much detail you want on one piece and another piece. Okay. But at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge them. Okay, again, merge down. Okay, I'm going to merge them because I want the same density on the dynamesh, more or less. And for me it works. So I go here, I make sure that this white ball is not there. And then probably like this in groups, maybe it's too much. Let's start with 1000. Yeah, like this. Okay, and when I do that, I'm going to turn this geometry as again dynamesh. Okay, but this different dynamesh, this is a different dynamesh, and this is another different dynamesh. This is the dynamesh from Plasticity. This is the dynamesh from ZBrush. Okay, and this dynamesh is needed to then after work correctly with the bevel. Okay, it's true that some people to have a super clean geometry and dynamesh use the zero measure and then do the iterations with the zero measure. But it depends because sometimes if you want to speed up a lot, you're going to lose a lot of time with that process. And imagine right now this is because it's super small asset, but if you have like a weapon with a lot of different pieces, it's going to be super large process also. And it's super large process, the low poly. You don't want the high poly to make larger. Okay, Kiara. Thank you for attending the masterclass. You can see after the recorded video. Thank you so much for assisting. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to be super fast. Okay. Right now I have the separating meshes, and the magic here comes when what I want is this super clean bevel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to go there and then in deformation I'm going to polish it. It's true that you can mask also the bevels and then do the inverse and then just affecting the bevels. But sometimes this doesn't work as I wanted. So for me the best way is just to use this the deformation. Okay. So what I usually do is like polish. Okay. It will let a little bit. Okay. And as you can see, you're looking a little bit how it's working right now. Probably put it 5 more. But the ones modifier, deformation modifier that is going to do the change is the creased edge one. Okay, this one. So I turn off the ball and then I put 10, for example, 10 again, and again. As you can see, the magic happened, bro. You have a correct and proper bevel right now and a manufactured line. When we come from this one, so we had this one thing, and now we have this one thing, high poly. So this is super cool because you can have super fast. Thank you, Clara, to assisting also. Okay, perfect. Yeah, you have the fillet there, and you have the proper bevel. Sorry, and you have the lines also that you wanted before, and this is going to be useful for our high poly stage, and we are going to bake this one on the low poly. We're not using bevels and plasticity instead. This is what I explained before. Because on plasticity, for example, okay, imagine that this can be also done um, in Substance Painter, right? But imagine that in ZBrush you want some B2B, for example, B2B. You want some detail there, okay? So you can do that in ZBrush. In Plasticity, no. You don't have the full control of your beveling, okay? So this is the reason why. It's true that can happen at some point that you can use the bevel on Plasticity. You can select all the edges, F, fillet, and probably it's going to work, okay? But for me, it's not the best way. It's not the best way to do the high poly because then after it, you have to take everything and then clean up all the fillets right now, because it's a super simple asset. But imagine you have a complex mech, okay? You have to fillet everything, make sure that this fillet works on every side, okay? And after it, when you make sure that everything works, as you can see, for example, there is not working 100%. For example, it's not accurate plasticity. It's not super accurate. It's so that at some point you can use that to optimize a little bit in the pieces that are not super important or super complex, right? But ZBrush provides to you a super equal fillet at that point, and you can every time you can control with the polish crease pads. You can maybe put 20, and it's going to be more and more. Also, the best way to do that, instead you don't want to lose the result or going back like this, you can create folders. Okay, you can go to geometry and you can create the geometry. No, sorry. Well, there is a way that you can create a folder, and inside this folder, there is like a slider where you can go back again. Okay, right now I don't find that here, but you can create folders. Okay, layers. Yeah, sorry, layers. You can create layers, and then you can go with different sizes and all this stuff. Subtool, maybe new folder. Yeah, you can create also folders, and I think it works with the same way. Oh no, sorry, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Basically the layers. Okay, you can go with layers, and then with morph topological, you can reduce a little bit, so you can go backstep or correct some bevel issues. You know, that's cool. You have more freedom, and in the end, okay. So after we finish that, what we are going to do is to do the dynamesh, okay, the decimation. So I'm going to take all the, I don't know if I can do in group, keep UVs, keep the polypaint. What I'm going to do is split, split, okay, I'm going to split everything, and I'm going to do a super fast preprocess current decimation, okay, just to show you how it works. Because right now we have 1 million topology for that, and we don't need 1 million. It's too much, right? Now, because it's a super small asset, and if I import that, it's going to work perfect. But the last step is doing that. Just separate the polygons, the meshes. I think there is a way to do it by polygroups. 100% there is a way to do that. I think it's use a polypaint. Okay, or no, polypaint. No, sorry. There is a way. 100%. I don't know what now, but and then you can decimate everything. Okay. Once you have decimated, the mesh is going to turn like this. From this to decimate current to this. Okay, but we reduced a lot. We reduced 700,000 trees, so that's a lot. Okay, and this one should be the same for the other one pieces. Okay, but imagine that right now I have all this done. Okay, I have all this done, so I can. I'm going to merge. Well, like I'm going to export. Okay, FBX. Export visible, export, and I'm going to export the high poly mesh. And now I'm going to do the low poly stage. Masterclass, high poly, fino. I'm going to let 3 max to do that. Okay, for the low poly, what we want is these meshes can't be separated like this. So what we are going to do is to create with Control G a folder that is dedicated only for the high poly. But then you're going to create a duplicated mesh. Control G again. I will put it outside the high poly and put it low poly. And this low poly, what is going to happen there? Is going to happen that these separating meshes are going to be one. Okay, because if you go with low poly with that separating mesh, what is going to happen is when you export the mesh, the issue is that it's going to do the interfaces and all this stuff, and you don't want that. It's going to be a super mess mesh, and you don't want that. So we are going to regroup in one. Okay, hide like this, and this one mesh, I'm going to show you the export settings for the low poly. Okay, we are going to do the export settings for the low poly. Some people use the pixies. Some people cleanups in 3D Max. I'm going to clean up in 3D Max, but I'm not going to clean up all this topology because if no, I'm going to die. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to let this as one. Okay, and this is because super easy mesh. Sorry, I'm going to just export this one. Okay, export, low poly. The thing is that what we want is the less topology as possible, the less messy top mesh as possible, because then if not, we have to clean up all these things. And believe me, we don't want to clean up all this. Okay, so what we are going to do is the next thing: angles. With angles, you make sure that you have your own vision where to do the joins with between vertex. Okay, so at that point, you don't need to create to figure out how to join them. Uh, so how to clean up this thing? Sorry, with angles, you avoid that step. Okay, you just have to figure out where to join the vertex. And right now, this one is super have a lot of density. Okay, so we can reduce that. Uh, First of all, putting like this, and more or less, this one it's super nice. Okay, because we have only this vertex. It's true that then there is like different ways to in the edge angle tolerance. Okay, as you can see here, for example, if I put less or more, it's putting one vertex more. But what I'm going to try to figure out is the less as much possible these things. Okay, also. Mm, to do that, it's just moving that the edge tolerance. Okay. After it, I'm going to show you a tool inside the 3D Max how to clean up this super fast, this vertex. Okay. But right now, I think we have. Maybe I need to reduce a little bit. This is super low poly. Okay. Right now, nowadays, you can increase. Okay, a little bit the tolerance. Okay. Um, Real engine can take more than this. Like this, it's okay. Like this is okay because you are not losing that all. Then with the bevel normal map is going to figure out super well this part. Okay, so let's go in with like this. Okay, and press OK. And now, okay, this is export. This is the alt high poly. So now we have two things. One correct. Wow, sorry, this one. No. Import high poly final. Yes. So we have the high poly, and I recommend you always to have the high poly to have proper mesh where you have to guide how the low poly is going to fit. Okay, because if you don't have the high poly, then you want to fill out like a curve side of the low poly, maybe it's going to be super out of the high poly and it's not going to do a proper baking the normal map. So we don't want that. So right now it looks like this. Let's go with high poly, high quality. So super cool, right? I love it. And then I go with the low poly in OBJ. But I'm going to make sure that is in centimeters and then import. Boom. And you're going to get a little bit scared because there is like stuff there, super strange stuff, right? But no, it's not a super huge issue. Basically, if you pick up this vertex and do like this, boom, this issue disappears, okay? And like this, the same, the issue disappears. So this what I mentioned before is this kind of vertex there that I didn't want, okay? So what I can do is going there, put 2, and press this button, the select button. And it's going to select all the vertex that are not joined with an edge, okay? This one, yeah, okay. And then Control and delete. And I delete everything. So what I'm going to try to figure out is this side, okay? The other side is going to be a symmetry. So for me, this doesn't care, okay? What it cares for me is this now. So, for example, here, target well, and then start to clean up everything, okay? Can do target well there, okay? Then target well here. For example, like this. You know that on hard surface you can have trees, okay? It's not an issue to having trees. Okay, so you can join. This is the shortcuts. The shortcuts that I'm using is Control Shift E. Okay, Control Shift E. I can do all the shortcuts. Alt R. I can do this one shortcut. Okay, and yeah, basically it's just to start clean up everything at this point. Okay, so having that like this, and then the same, and then you're going to connect this one with this one, and starting to clean up, and joining, attaching all the vertex with the edge, okay, to add another vertex. For example, this one with this one. I'm going to do, for example, here is a slice, okay, and this slice, what provides to me with a mode that is biangle, is this edge that in super large surfaces, for me, it's okay to separate that like this. And I'm going to explain why sometimes this is super useful. There are both two ways, okay? This one, okay, you can go with large trees, and it's okay if you don't have artifacts of bad shadowing, it's okay. But then you can have if you work a company that is working with Nanite pipeline, okay, this is not possible because you can have super large trees on a night pipeline. So what you have to do is to slice it, okay, and create slice. Okay, it's like what I'm going to do is copy, paste, 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 paste. Okay, I'm going to create different slice modifiers, and I'm going to separate accordingly a little bit with all the geometry, okay? Because Nanite requires that, okay? It requires this kind of methodology. So I'm going to separate For example, I'm going to have one here, and then I'm going to try to figure out everything. Result, for example, these ones are not going to be anymore. So this is the reason why Nanite. Okay, I delete that, and then I'm going to doing target well there and target well there. Okay. So this for the Nanite pipeline. This should have continuity there. Continuity. Okay, I'm going to do symmetry. And this one, for example, is not going to be anymore. Yeah, this one, for example, should be on a straight line. So the thing is with Nanite, we should work like that. So we should need like this thing like this. Okay, like this. But boom, boom. We're going to try to have this one like this. Okay, this, boom, boom. Okay. And this is the Nanite timeline. At some point, maybe better to have the middle point closer. So this should be more in the middle. Okay. But this is the Nanite pipeline for the low poly. But then we have the traditional one that is putting super large trees. Okay. And this is how to clean up a mesh. In the end, is a job that takes a little bit, but in the end, you can achieve super nice results. In the end, doing UVs, you know how to do UVs. Doing baking, you know how to do baking, but there is no some tips on that. Okay, the masterclass is finished here with that point. So let me. You can figure out this a little bit there. Okay, one. So be super strict with the topology, because in any case, the client is going to see that, and you need to be super clear what you're doing. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We have the low poly. Obviously, I have to clean up a little bit more, but that's the methodology to clean up everything. Maybe probably a bit 25. It's okay. Then also there is another tool that I'm going to mention, that when you have all the UVs, you can use text tools. And the text tools, if you press tools there and smooth thin groups from UV shells, all these issues are going to disappear because you're going to do the cut over there. Okay, so it's a simple tool. It's free. You can find it at the internet at the official website. And then you can just press smoothing groups from UV shells, and you have all the smoothing groups done. Okay. And that's me, guys. This is how to do the low polys, how to work with plasticity. I understand that if there is people that doesn't use it before, can sound a little bit as something strange. But believe me, super fast when you take in consideration the timing, production, and all this stuff. It's super fast how to achieve fast results. Then obviously with plasticity, that you can create everything also super fast. It's so that at the same time that I was talking, I was teaching. But for me, this one piece, for example, can take perfectly 2 hours, and that's it. With 2 hours, I can do the full pipeline for the plasticity, not the low poly, high poly, but for just to make you like in between brackets the timing for example, an asset, hard surface asset. For me, it takes 3 days. In 3 days, I can create a pack of assets, small assets, hard surface assets, full pipeline in topology, in texturing, baking, and everything. Okay. Sorry. Hopefully, you understand everything. If you have some questions, please, I will let 15 minutes just in case you have some questions. Just please ask everything you want. I'm going to let my art station here, also my social medias, in any case you want to contact or reach out to me. But thank you so much for assisting the masterclass. Hopefully in another occasion I can do another one more largest and explain more in deep more complex assets. But right now this one is so super simple. But believe me, it's worth it to learn plasticity at that point. In the moments that we are at the industry, that they want everything super fast with high quality. Do you suggest to report to the top of the high poly, or it makes no sense at all considering the low poly in plasticity? The top of the high poly, for me, it's more messy than exporting with angons in plasticity and just clean up. As you can see, I can, because I work also in shortcuts at 3D Max, so out there like this, boom, so super fast, you know. You can go there, then the vertex, boom, boom, probably you can pick more than one, go super fast, clean up, you know. For me, it's much better like this than starting to doing some retopo and all this stuff, because the retopo, you say that, right? If I pick this one, for example, I go there, sorry, there. Like this, no, and then polydraw new object, then going there, surface pick there, one, and starting to do that, right? Do you mean that, right? Boom, starting to move, all this stuff. If I can ask, in 3 days, how many assets and how about? In 3 days, for example, I can do one complex hard surface asset, small asset. For example, a vehicle, no, or a mech, no. But a weapon, if it's depends also in the art direction, but if it's something simple, yes. But it's super simple weapon, like stylus with weapon. If it's super hard surface weapon, no. For example, this one it takes longer, obviously, because there is like both sides, no? Organic and then, but for example, this one, I did all the design and all the stuff that takes more or less the same as doing the low poly and all this stuff in 1 week. This kind of asset, for example, I can do that in 1 day. In 3 days. Yeah. Without all the FBX and all this stuff, because at the industry you're just only are going to do the topology, the low poly, the baking, all this stuff. But yeah, 3 days for that, for example. For this one, I don't know, 1 week. Yeah. In the end, this is like symmetry of this one, and this one is the same material. You know, it's not something super complex, but yeah. Also, it's true with Nanite pipeline. With no Nanite pipeline, maybe it takes longer. Nanite pipeline for me is much quite easier for all this stuff. If I can ask, when it comes to the hard surface, it makes sense to bevel edges and the low poly it cuts better the bake. The high poly, or it's enough to not bevel? Good question. For the small bevels, like these ones, is not worth, because this is going to be baked in the normal map. But for this one, for example, that is also a bevel, okay? It's worth to have the proper geometry. Imagine that, for example, this is the reason why, for example, this one will be also in the low poly, okay? Because it's a huger bevel. But for this one, no, it's not needed, because for this, you don't need on the low poly that, okay? If it's a hero asset, okay, maybe you can put some beveling over there. But in the end, yeah, right now, nowadays, you can bevel to have much more quality. But for example, for this, my opinion is not needed because the bevel there is going to be super cool in the normal mode. Okay. More questions, more questions. And I don't know if I say it well with that the topology. I mean, for me, doing that is not the best way. No, for me, doing like this. I mean, the character artists are super fast doing that, but for me, it's not the best way. How do you handle the polygon for the low poly models if there is a specific range you follow? Before, yes. Now it depends. For weapons, for example, complex weapons. For example, this one have 50,000, 55,000 trees. But it depends. I will say for the video games nowadays, I will let 50,000 trees because for a character they usually use 200,000 trees. So for me, yeah, 50,000 is okay for a complex weapon, and maybe there are more complex one topology, yeah. But yeah, between that bracket. Okay, Federica, thank you so much for assisting the masterclass. Hope you enjoy, guys, this masterclass. I know it was super complex in some aspects because the shortcuts, I usually use shortcuts, but because for plasticity is super useful, the shortcuts. I started in Italian also, and I'm not the best one speaking Italy. But Italian, but yeah, sorry. So if there is no more questions for me, thank you so much. Hey, hello. Va bene, grazie. Grazie mille, grazie mille. È vero che io non sono il migliore di tutti, no? Facendo hard surface, ma questa è that's my way to do hard surface, and I think it works super well for me. But it's true that I'm not the best one. Okay, so there are a lot of people that do crazy stuff. They are super good, but anyways, there is always a chance to improve every day. So non-stop, improve every day. If you stop, you are going to lose. You know, it's better to keep doing every day, and you're going to learn a lot, a lot. Yeah, basta che funzioni. Totalmente sono d'accordo. Sì, sì, per me è così, no? Hai di fare sempre un bel lavoro, non parare mai perché se pari, alla fine succede questo, no? Che perdi un po' di abilità e questo non è the best way, no? Per fare 3D. Alla fine tutto questo che ho fatto io non è perché sì, è perché ho stato tantissime ore dietro facendo sempre modellaggio 3D tutti i giorni e alla fine questa è la mia forma di fare 3D. Ci sono tantissime forme di fare 3D e non sei più buono o meno buono, sai? Alla fine tutti hanno le sue forme di fare le cose. Questa è quella che funziona per me e spero che a voi anche. Sì, 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 è un software che avete di imparare sì o sì se volete stare dentro della industria dei videogiochi. Io credo che non è difficile di imparare, ma sì che all'inizio forse è un po' difficile, ma dopo vedrete che è stra facile, non hai bisogno di avere una super abilità. Alla fine tutti siamo artisti, non siamo matematici o scientist, you know? Siamo artisti e facciamo le cose un po' con un po' di originalità e creatività, no? Sì, sì. Sì, 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 fate le domande. Question is, I didn't quite understand the bevel thing in low poly versus high poly. Are bevels usually avoiding the low poly for game workflows? And what about the hard surface assets in film? Okay, good question. For example, the thing on between the bevels, okay, it's super simple. The thing is that this bevel, as you can see there, is super huge. So if you delete that, okay, and you let like this, it's not going to work properly on the baking, okay, on the normal map. This is the super extreme context. This is the less extreme context, but it should be also in low poly. Why? Because if you delete that, if you have this super strike edge, it's possible that the normal map is not going to work properly. So for this, should be like that, okay? But for this one that is super small, because you're going to have probably like this, it's okay to have this edge like this, and knowing the low poly. In the low poly, it should be super straight, okay? Like in the example, here we have the example, the proper example. This one, for example, is not going to be these lines are going to be baked in the normal map, but these ones are bevels also. But it's going to be baked in the normal map and it's going to do the effect of the manufactured line. Okay, so right now I don't have them here because it's going to be baked in the normal map. But for example, this one should be modeled in the low poly because the normal map will work better on the low poly. You understand that? If not, I'm going to explain again. I don't have to hurry up. So sì, ho risposto alla domanda. And what's the hard surface assets in film? Okay. For film, it's super cool to this question because this one is for video games, right? You have proper topology, you have super optimized topology, but for film, is not constantly doing a real-time rendering like the PlayStation, right? It's just one video, is one frame by frame. So you just put like a USB and you see the video. So you're not constantly rendering, so doesn't need so super hard optimization properties on the films. And for films, I'm not expert on that, but I think they use this pipeline. This pipeline is basically no UVs, no UVs, just separated materials, and there is like shaders that fits the all the dearness and all this stuff. So there is no UVs. So I think they use that pipeline for the film, for the assets that are not super close to the person. For characters, I think for characters on the films, I'm not expert to, but I think for characters they pay more attention on the topology because there are facial expressions and all this stuff. But for films, I think they use this kind of pipeline. No, it's not too much. It's not complex in the technical part of reducing topology and make it properly for video games. So that's the bad thing for video games and the cool thing of for films. And yeah, okay, nice. Va bene. I will let you also hear the Instagram. I think it's this one, Sandro Bonfanti 3D, and then You can find me via LinkedIn, also by Sandro Bonfanti. But this is my Instagram. And if you have some questions, you can ask me directly there at Instagram. Usually I respond there at Instagram. ArtStation, I usually use that just for publish my portfolio stuff and anything else. And now Discord too, yeah. Yeah, I have Discord, so I inside the school. So yeah, you can also reach out to me inside Discord. I don't usually use Discord. It's the platform that I usually use just to drop my ArtStation stuff but not to. I don't usually use Discord, but yeah. If in any way, sometimes I open it, and if you have some questions there, it's okay. Spero di sì, perché sono lunghe, 3 ore sono tantissime. Io spero di la gente che è piaciuto la masterclass e alla fine è questo, no? Che io sono esperto con la mia forma di lavorare, no? La mia my way to work on that. Ma ci sono tantissime gente più potente da me. Ma è vero che io adesso sono giovane, ho 26 anni, ma sì, è vero che c'è gente strapotente con tutto questo, ma alla fine è quello, no? Essere sempre meglio da oggi da domani, no? Sempre tutti i giorni essere meglio, meglio, meglio. E per me è anche un apprendizaggio poter fare una masterclass in italiano per la comunità italiana, perché è la prima volta che faccio una masterclass così. Io di solito la faccio in Spagna, ho fatto 4 scuole, anche il THU, Trojan Horse Last Unicorn, anche eventi più importanti, ma questa è la prima volta, così mi è piaciuto tantissimo, grazie. Grazie. Mm, perfetto. Mm. Va bene, sì, certo, certo. E anche un'altra cosa, sì, no? C'erano qualcuno qui, un amico mio, sì, mi hanno visto adesso. È vero che vi manderò anche il Plasticity file, così potete voi fare quello che volete. E anche se lo trovo, vi passerò anche i miei materiali di Plasticity, così potete cominciare un po' per tenere una base di Plasticity così un po' più bella. Va bene. Non so dove lo posso mandare questo. Va bene. Su un mail, mi mandi un mail tuo e dopo posso mandarlo là. Va bene, perfetto. Perfetto, grazie. Grazie ragazzi. Buona serata. Ci vediamo. Ciao.